Good evening and welcome to the Hawaiʻi Neighborhood Board meeting. My name is Roberta Mayer. I'm chair of the Neighborhood Board, and I would like the board members who are present to introduce themselves, starting at my far right. Herb.
Hi, good evening. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Herb Schreiner, Subdistrict 6, which is the back Kamilawiki Valley.
Good evening, everyone. This is Paula Bender, and I have Subdistrict 8, which is the Lunalilo Home, Cocoa Head Terrace area.
Robert Allen, Subdistrict 2, Spinnaker Island, Thwap Isle.
Tiffany Donnelly, at large.
Good evening, Elijah Lee, Subdistrict 5, Mariners Cove.
Greg Knutson, at large.
This is Anson Wu. He's our neighborhood assistant, and he helps us maintain order and also helps with the minutes.
Johanna Ward, Subdistrict 3, Upper Hahaione Valley, everything but the townhouses and high rises.
Lisa Bishop at large, and welcome everyone. Happy New Year.
We have two members online. Sam, introduce yourself, and Paige.
Aloha everyone, Samuel Wolf, Subdistrict 4, the Hahaione Valley Condo Towers.
Hello everybody, Paige Alton, Subdistrict 11, Portlock Road and Maunalua Triangle, Kokokai. Aloha.
Welcome everyone and Happy New Year. This is our first neighborhood board meeting of the year. So I'd like to welcome all of you as the new year begins. We are a 15-member board. Currently, we have 12 members on the board with 3 vacancies, and we have 11 of our 12 members present tonight. So we certainly have more than a quorum. We're going to start our meeting with the status reports of our service providers, starting first with the Honolulu Fire Department. Welcome.
Aloha, Happy New Year, everyone. Captain Waipo Parker with the Hawaii Fire Station. These fire statistics for December 2025, we had 1 brush fire, 5 activated alarms with no fire, 93 medical calls, 5 motor vehicle crash collisions, 4 mountain rescues, 1 ocean rescue, and 2 hazardous materials incidents. The fire safety tip and announcement is electrical safety in the home. Check for electrical hazards in your home. Here are some tips to keep your ohana safe. Plug 1 heat-producing appliance, such as a coffee maker or toaster, into a wall receptacle outlet at a time. Major appliances like refrigerators, dryers, stoves should be plugged directly into the wall receptacle outlet. Extension cords and power taps or strips should not be used. Check electrical cords to ensure they are not running across doorways or under carpets. Extension cords are intended for temporary use. Have a licensed electrician install additional receptacle outlets to eliminate using extension cords, and ensure electrical work is performed by a licensed electrician. And that concludes HFD's report for the month.
Thank you very much, Captain Parker.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for the Honolulu Fire Department from board members or our audience? Seeing none, thank you very much for coming and sharing that information with us.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening.
Good evening. Next on our agenda is the Honolulu Police Department, and I see Lieutenant Nakamura online, ready to share. Go ahead, Lieutenant.
Hi, aloha, Taro Nakamura from HPD. These are our stats for December as compared to the previous month. Let's see, motor vehicles were 1 as compared to 4. Burglaries were 0 as compared to 1. Thefts in general also went down, was 5 as compared to 8. And UEMVs, which is theft from auto, was 1 as compared to 4. This is a total calls of service of 5,968 for the district. And further statistical information can be found at honolulupd.org. And our safety tip for the month, since it's been raining a lot, is driving in the rain. So just remember, if can, the most dangerous time is right when it starts raining, because you're going to get a lot of the all the oils and whatnot that's been on the ground. And when it starts raining, that water lifts it up. And that's the easiest time to get into an accident. Common sense things allow more time if it's raining hard. Once in a while, just tap your brakes so you get the water off the brakes. Turn on your headlights. And then last thing is, if you do start to hydroplane, don't jam on the brakes. Most cars these days have anti-lock brakes, but just ease into pushing the brake if you're hydroplaning, and then just wait for the tires to pick up, and then you can steer out of it. And that's our safety tip for the month.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Are there any questions for the Honolulu Police Department? No questions. Well, this is a nice way to start off the new year. Everybody's amenable to everything. Great. Next on our agenda is Board of Water
Aloha.
Supply. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Let's follow the same thing as no questions for me, but no, please, any questions is fine. So since we didn't have a meeting in December, if I could read the December general announcement, because it's still applicable, even though it says, be vigilant from utility scams, especially during the holiday season. You really should just be vigilant all the time. We just want to let you know, we do not accept payment. I'm Iris Oda from the Board of Water Supply, sorry. So the Board of Water Supply, we don't accept payment via gift cards, wire transfers, or app payments. We will not call you outside regular business hours, which is Monday through Friday, 7:45 to 4:30. And if you do receive a suspicious call, ask for their name and a phone number and hang up. And then call, our official number is 808-748-5000. Extension 2, to verify that name and number. And we'll never send notices to disconnect by text. So we won't text you and say we're gonna shut you off, just let you guys know that. And then in person, if you're approached by someone claiming to be from BWS, ask for their official ID. We should have a BWS logo attire, and we should drive marked vehicles and carry a city and county Honolulu badge. So just a good reminder, since there's so many things going on nowadays. Okay, so that was the December's one. My January announcement is I handed out some of these flyers to you guys, but there's some on the table. We want to say conserving water now comes with bigger rewards. Sorry. Let's see. We have a partnership with the Department of Environmental Services. We've expanded our water sensible rebate program, doubling many rebates. So for residents, you can get now a higher rebate value of $150 for Energy Star clothes washer, $200 for a Water Sense labeled toilet, and $400 for a smart water monitor. So there's also some commercial customers that can qualify for some higher rebates too on some plumbing and kitchen equipment. So the goal is simple, help people save money while using less water. So go to our boardofwatersupply.com/rebates to look up, get more details and information on this. Okay. And usually I give the main break information or statistics. So back in December, I would have reported the main breaks for November, which was 3 in this district. On the November 20th was near 809 Kialala Place. And oh, sorry, on the 21st, there was another main break at that same location. And on November 10th, there was near 894 Lunalilo Home Road. And for December, on December 30th, there was one near 699 Hawaiʻi Street. And I had one follow-up question from November. I have a question from November that I wanted to follow up on. So Mr. Knudsen, the member Knudsen, asked about, he was hearing some singing in his pipes because there's construction in his area. So, he was just wondering if that's, and it was more than just this one house, he said, but if that's something the Board of Water can help with. So my understanding is Board of Water staff met with you and at your home. The singing in the pipe noise was traced to a spigot near the front end of the garage. And why I'm bringing this up is you never know if it's happening at your house. This may help. A spigot was using the vice grip as a handle, which may allow air into the line and causing the noise. So it was recommended that the spigot replaced with as a corrective measure. And I guess if there's any problems, they were going to follow up with you. And
Yeah, I did appreciate that they did stop by and talk about it. I'm not real sure if that was the actual source, but it did give me some advice. Have tried to bleed the pipes a little more, but it is just intermittent. I don't know what triggers it, but I know the construction continues in Kalama Valley, so I still highly suspect that it's somewhere between the street and the house that is getting affected by alternating pressure or something that is unusual, because I've lived there more than 30 years and it's never happened. And suddenly and it's not just singing, it's loud at times.
okay. I mean, I guess if it was me too, I would probably note the date and time and duration. And then when you do call, at least maybe they can, or do it when you call if you can, right when it's
Well,
happening.
the main thing I do is shut off the water
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
and turn it back on, and it seems to affect
Would
it,
help. Would-
which makes me think it's still related to the link to the system.
okay. I'll mention that to them. that
Anyway, yeah. Anyway,
it's
thank you,
somewhat
though. I mean, it's really nice, though, that someone stopped by.
Yeah.
That I do appreciate.
glad, yeah, I'm glad that they did. Okay, cool. So, I think that was all I had to follow up on.
Thank you, Iris, for your report. Are there questions for the Board of Water Supply? Yes, Herb?
Hello. You brought up a few meetings back that after a job's done, somebody comes back and does the road nicely. And I don't know if it belongs to you, Board of Water or whoever, but I have 3 locations that are jolting when you drive over the paved, unpaved area. Opposite 444 Luna Lila Home Road, heading Mauka. That's a pretty good one, but I think it has to do with the trees. So over the whole run through, it's a bump, but I believe there was a job done there because it looks big enough. The other one is Luna Lila Home Road and Wailua Street, heading Mauka, also right at the intersection. When the people turn left from the right lane, it's in the right lane. And then the one literally in my neighborhood, 1093 Wainiha Street, Wainiha. Yeah, that one, I'm pretty sure that was Board of Water. But that one they're all jolting and I just kind of let it go. But then when you brought it up, I thought maybe somebody can look at it. And then I was going to say the same thing to the city reps and chairs. Thank you.
Just to make it sure, you said 444 Luna Rilo, Mauka side. The second one, I missed that address. Something.
It's Luna Lilo Home Road heading Mauka on the right lane at the intersection, just after the intersection when you head Mauka.
You said Wailua Street?
That's Luna Lilo and Wailua. That's the one that comes over from the post office over to Luna Lilo. And then 1093 is, it's been like that for a while. It wakes my wife up. No, I'm just teasing. Okay,
Okay, I'll let them know. I'll see if they can follow up on that.
thank you.
Those 3 addresses. Okay.
Any other questions or comments for Iris? Seeing none, thank you very much, Iris, for your
Thank you.
report.
Happy New Year to all and Kungi Pachoy.
Yes, thank you.
After.
All right. Next is our Kaiser Complex Schools. And here to give that report is Principal Shannon Gu. Welcome, Shannon.
Good evening and welcome. Thank you for having me. I'm sorry we missed our report last month, but we always love being here. And so we're going to do our best to give you guys updates. And this is the fun part because we have a lot of great things going on in the Kaiser Complex of Schools, of course, Kungi Fachoy. A happy Lunar New Year. And Kaiser High School will start off with our inaugural Kaiser Science Olympiad was held there, and they hosted that. 7 teams competed, and everyone did really well. Moving on, Kaiser High delegates are going to be visiting Hokkaido, and they're going to make a partnership with a memorandum of agreement, and that is Principal Mew, Director Bataluna, and Teacher Puugrubs. Sophomore class has a lot of great things going on. They have their middle years project. So that's a culminating project that starts off in 6th grade, and they build skills all the way to 10th grade. And then they do this passion project, something kids really are compassionate about and they want to make a difference. And they'll do a presentation at Kaiser High School this next month. So that's just great. They're also having a blood drive on February 20th. And also ROTC will have an inspection by the Pentagon. Kaiser High PTSA, they're hosting a Makers Explorium Kaiser High night market. That's going to be on February 21st from 4 to 8 p.m. So come out and check it out. Kaiser Robotics, there will be 3 teams from Kaiser traveling to Monroe, Washington, and they're competing in the Ignite the Northwest signature event. And I'm sorry, they just finished and they took home the Energy Award. And this was 105 teams competed. Finally, Kaiser High School 2025 AP Honor Roll. Only 3 Honolulu DOE schools or Hawaii DOE schools made it, and Kaiser got the bronze honoree. I'm sorry, we have some other announcements. Big one, which is the Kaiser High Visual and Performing Arts Complex, and I try to give an update every time they update that. So there's a workshop held with WRNS Studio and also with Hawaii DOE facilities. And this happened at Kaiser High School, January 15 to 16. A part of that process, they toured Moanalua's Performing Arts Center as a model and also the Roosevelt Auditorium. So planning and design process is underway and construction is set for 2028. Yeah, so this is great news. It's moving right along. Finally, one of the students in the class of 2028, Mia Matsuura, was a state winner for the 2026 America 250, Our History, Our Voice. And it was spearheaded also by teacher, Mr. David Tanabe. So congratulations to Mia Matsuura. All right, thank you very much. Might you have any questions?
I thought you were going to talk about the middle school or.
Oh, yes, I did miss that one. That's actually groundbreaking. That's the first partnership with a Taiwan school. And so they have a memorandum of understanding with Gwangju Junior High School in Taiwan. And that's coming up pretty soon. They'll have a formal ceremony.
Thank you, Mr. Gu. That's all very inspiring. Are there any questions for Mr. Gu tonight? Yes, Greg?
On the trip to Hokkaido and this one with Taiwan, how are those funded? Do parents participate? Are there fundraisers? And what kind of memorandum of agreement might they reach between schools? I mean,
Yeah, that's a good question. So they're creating an agreement just as a sister school agreement. So they're hand delivering and presenting that agreement from our state to Hokkaido area. And so I think it's just funded by the school with the 3 just to start off, but hopefully it opens doors for more exchange partnerships with students involved.
yeah, well, I think it's great, but I do wonder what the nuts and bolts are and how it makes it happen. So good,
Yeah.
Congratulations on that.
I can find out more about that. I can report it back next time. I know there is one partnership already existing with Sapporo High School, and every other year, about 300 students will come down and visit us. But yeah, this may be even more now. Thank you.
Thank you. No other questions? Thank you, Mr. Gu, and thank you for allowing us to meet here in your facilities. It's
Okay.
very convenient for all of us. Thank
Of course. Thank you. It's a pleasure to present to you guys, and thank you for your service to the community.
Board members, you're kind of cramped on that side. Would one of you like to come on this side to sit? Sam is participating online, so there's room here on this side. Thanks. And while Robbie is changing seats, Galen Wong, I think that I saw you online. Galen is with the Hawaii Department of Transportation. Do you have any updates for us, Galen?
Yeah, good evening, Chair Mayor and Hawaiʻi Neighborhood Board. Yeah, I just want to just report back on a couple items. The delineators study, I think I contacted our traffic branch and they have to get back to me, so I'll have to get back to you at the next meeting regarding if they're gonna go out and check about adding more lines or additional warning for that area that enters the Kalaniʻo Highway at Ainakoa from the freeway and Kahala Mall. As far as the resurfacing, we have a project from the Kalaniʻo Highway resurfacing from the Makai Pier to the vicinity of the Hanama Bay Road. What the engineers have told me was, to reduce the advertising effort and to minimize the bidder confusion. They decided to wait to advertise for this project until after the United States Forestry and Wildlife Service biological options were completed. But due to the COVID, not the COVID, the shutdown, the federal shutdown in late December, November, they had to push that. Forestry and Wildlife had to push back that that plan, the biological plans from December 25th to February 23rd of this year to before we could put the bid out to bid for this project. So so the current notice to proceed is probably around July 2026 for the resurfacing project. So hopefully they do start it by this summer as far as that project update. And also just I just wanted to let you know that we are studying 4 intersections in between Aina to Hawaii Kai about installing maybe we are projecting to add 10 more red light cameras in those areas in Honolulu, and 4 of them are in your area from Aina to Hawaii Kai. So they're gonna look at the amount of crashes and tickets and stuff like that in those areas, and amount of people that speed and not speed on red drive through the red lights and stuff like that. So when we get more information and as far as what 10 we're going to choose, I'll let you know as far as which areas might be affected and which traffic light intersections will be installed. If not, any other questions?
No, but thank you for the heads up, Galen. That's very helpful, I think, to all of the community. Any questions? Yes, Greg and then Herb.
Yeah, what you just mentioned, the traffic signal monitoring, is that going to be both speed and red lights?
It's probably only going to be red light because they're trying to, they might not go with the speeding because of the amount of stuff that has been reduced and the amount of tickets and stuff like that they've been obtaining. So they might not go with both. They might just go with the red light as far as more. It probably more helping with the accidents in those areas and sections. But I think the speed camera, they might kind of slow down on having both of those together.
Yeah, I would think that would be wise because in the past, it's kind of been monitored, and it's when the lights are synchronized, they seem to be synchronized for between 45 miles an hour and 50 miles an hour. And, frankly, just about everyone does drive over 35. So to go heavy on enforcement on speeding there, where it's sort of understood that it's actually, I know we can't just assume that you're turning your head, but on the other hand, that's the reality of it. It does seem like the average speed is at least above 40.
Right. Yeah. I think also the speed cameras is more expensive to install and stuff like that, even though it's part of that red light camera. But I think they also have, yeah. So they are gonna probably not push the speeding in those areas that they decide to install the 10, up to the 10 for the new ones.
Hello. My question is a general. What, when do they start citing at those speed?
Usually when they install the new intersections and bringing it into the program, they'll start issuing what you call first warnings for the first month or two. They'll just issue warnings to get people to realize that there is a new um, red light camera system in place. So the people will know beforehand and be warned for the first month or two, or maybe, and then after that, the next one gets do the same thing. Which one ever get installed, they always go through a warning period before they um, issue the tickets themselves. So people will be warned and have time to get used to not driving through those intersections.
That really didn't answer my question. I know
Right.
you give warnings and stuff before they get the tickets, but after the warnings, what is it? 5 miles over, 2 miles over?
No, that's the speed one. The red light one is whenever you enter the intersection when the light turns red, that's when you get that warning.
I
That's the
understand
red
that.
light.
I'm talking about
Yeah,
the
the speed
speeding
cam.
ones.
Yeah, the speed one is not in. They're not gonna maybe put that one in use into the 10 new ones that they're coming up. The current ones that they have at the 10 one that we already have in place is being used for the speed camera and the red light. And usually it's been programmed to catch you over 11 miles an hour above the speed limit, but they haven't told anyone which amount of speed that they issue the ticket. So if you drive anything over 11 to 15 or anything above that, then that's when they'll issue those the speed tickets, and they usually try to go after the ones that are really high and blatant, because that's the ones that they want to get them to stop and change their habits of speeding through these intersections. Because one of the intersections we recorded someone driving over 100 miles per hour in that intersection. So that's the kind of things that they're trying to eliminate or try to reduce the amount of people that go really fast through these intersections. But yeah, so they said something like only 11 speeding tickets were issued in the 10 cameras we've been that was in placing the tickets since mid-December or early January. So you should be pretty safe on those intersections that with the current red light cameras. But the new ones will probably be only red light systems and not both. I think they're gonna slow down on the the speed ones, because of the amount of it costs and the additional, and they're probably not gonna see as much people speed through these intersections after.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you answering the question. Yeah, red lights are a problem, and I'll be looking forward to it. Have a good night.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Galen.
Yeah.
We're going to be moving on to our community announcements. So if people have announcements, board members? Elizabeth?
I'll do this one. I wanted to let everybody know that there are flyers in the back, that on February 7th at Kiavava Wetland, it's World Wetlands Day, and we have a host of fabulous partners coming out. Honolulu is going to be performing. Heidi Bornhorst is going to be giving a native plant and medicinal tour, teaching how to plant. Audubon Society will be doing bird watching. Lots of fun, good stuff, good family time. It's free. So please consider coming out and enjoying this phenomenal landscape. Mahalo.
It's Craig, right? I think you'd be better off presenting yours under public generated issues. Yeah. So next coming up, would you introduce yourself and then let us know what your
I'm Sue Cowing,
announcement
and
is?
my partner in crime is Wendy Hawaiʻi. And it's good timing because we're going to talk about a project that connects with the World Wetlands Day. Our project, which we've been planning since last summer, is called Poetry from Ridge to Reef. The goal of our project, Poetry from Ridge to Reef, is to inspire people living in or passing through the Mauna Lua area to notice, value, and want to preserve its natural landscape and environmental treasures. We will install 2 temporary poetry post boxes designed by local artists at special points of interest around Mauna Lua, mountains, springs, valleys, and coastline, and encourage people to seek them out. The poems in them will celebrate the natural environment and will be chosen to connect easily with people who may not ordinarily read poetry. A post box will remain 2 months in one place before moving to another, and each will feature a new poem every 2 weeks, mainly by Hawaiʻi writers. Livable Mauna Lua Hui is enthusiastic about the project and just gave us the green light to place our first box during the World Wildlife Festival, and it will remain there for 2 months at least. Let's see. Anyway, as you know, that there's the endangered moorhen there, and the first poem, it will be by Wendy and about the moorhen with a nice picture. And we're really excited to get this going. And we have comments of copies of the comments I just made, but also our more official project plan, if anybody wants to look at those, and with context for us too. Yeah. So
What was your name again? I'm sorry.
my name?
Yeah.
Sue Cowing, Cowing. Wendy White. Wendy wants to add a little something.
We just wanted to add that 2 ways that you could support us is 1, get out the news about World Wetland Day and that there's this exciting new poetry arts in natural places project going up in Hawaii Kai. And also we're looking for the second site for a box. So if you have any ideas, please reach out to us. We're going to leave our contact information with you. And help us spread the word and find more places to connect people and poetry and nature. Thank you so much.
Hi, is this something that's already supported by the city and county or the state? Have you already reached out to them?
No, we haven't approached the city or county yet. We're just doing this as 2 poets and working with the community on a person-to-person level. But if it continues to grow, we will probably try to seek funding for it.
Because there are lots of places here that belong to the city and county that have really great locations for something like this. The Mayor's Office of Culture and the Arts, perhaps,
Right.
if, is it here already? Perhaps online, Amy Esselby, the mayor's representative, the Hawaii Kai Neighborhood Board, may be a point of contact that you all can reach out to. I can. Uh-huh. That's great.
Get around it.
If you're not sticking into the microphone,
Okay.
audience at home can't hear
I said, we have connected with Malama Moana Lua, and they're supporting us. And also have been to the Kuleopo neighborhood board.
Mira, back of your driver's license.
I'm trying to showcase my studies.
This is your passport.
I think that was all I wanted to say. So we are trying to make connections like that, but we're not And anyone, there's some things that are on private property, and that would be the easiest to get. But we want to get the best, so we may have to,
Well, good luck
yeah,
on your
yeah,
project.
okay.
Reese?
Chair Mayor, members of the board, my name is Reese Liggett, and I rise to mention that it is 5 years that since the boulder barrier went in at Vavamalu Beach. Vavamalu Beach is that piece of Parks property, coastline, just beyond Sandy Beach from here, and its native habitat and a traditional Hawaiian burial place. The installation was one of the first accomplishments of the Blangiardi administration. I thank Hawaiʻi Kai Neighborhood Board for its resolution 1902 that put the barricade project literally on the map over 6 years ago. And I acknowledge the leadership of District 4 Council Member, now Council Chair Tommy Waters, and Sierra Club Activism for its foresight in urging that the board and the city installed the boulder barrier to stop four-wheel drive vehicles, four-wheel drive off-roading depredation of the shoreline, public's property. Board members were provided a copy of the 5-year barricade report published this month in Sierra Club Hawaii Chapter's Malama Monthly newsletter. It recaps that nature and Sierra Club outing volunteers are being successful in recovering this beautiful shoreline gem that is Vavamalu Beach. At the midpoint of this neighborhood board's breathtaking Moanalua Makapu'u Scenic Byway along the Kaiwi coast. It is notable that the 39th Sierra Club monthly conservation outing at Vavamalu Beach took place just 9 days ago, and the 40th conservation outing for volunteers from the Sierra Club and the public is upcoming on Sunday morning, February 15th. Over 600 volunteers have participated so far in the 39 volunteer Sundays. And everybody here tonight is invited to join in. And I have brochures right over here that explain about the February 15th event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reese, for spearheading the entire effort. And I think that it is a beautiful area that we want to continue to protect. And thank you for all of the efforts that you've made.
Just going to ask everybody to join me in a round of applause for Reese. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Tom?
First, as a Sierra Club member, I very much appreciate and support that. And when I see all of the graffiti on schools in the mainland, I support Shannon Gu in having the aloha values all over this campus and inside that our students can grow into. My name is Tom Cooper. I'm a Hawaiʻi Valley resident, and I'm among those who represent the group called HARD, which stands for Hawaiʻi Advocates for Respectful Development. Many of you know that our group wishes to protect the James Building, the Cocoa Head Plaza, which contains the Pep Clinic and many other businesses, and the 7-Eleven Boston Pizza Building adjacent to that. We do not wish to see anyone at those locations evicted, and we support Chair Waters, who's here tonight, recently announced the idea of turning the James Building into a satellite city hall, possibly with other pro-social community entities inside it, such as a community center and rooms for community groups. It's not for us to decide as hard what it should be, but we represent thousands of people who want to see it be pro-community, who want to see it be protective, preserving, and in agreement with the sustainability values that Chair Waters and many of you share. Since we last reported, We've reached another milestone while collecting thousands of signatures on our petition, which can be signed at hahaioneadvocates.com. That's hahaioneadvocates.com. That petition link is currently being supported by and announced in their newsletters by Council Chair Tommy Waters, by strong supporter Rep. Joe Gideon, who's here tonight. Thank you, Joe. By State Senators Stanley Chang and Chris Lee. Thank you, Chris, and all of your staffs. We're growing daily, not only in Hawaii Kai. We're not resting on our laurels. We are shooting for 10,000 signatures. And the signatures come in throughout the island, no longer just in Hawaii Kai. We've spoken to and announced the petition via boards, schools, churches, and other organizations, and we'd love to let your group know more and to ask questions in person. Some of you on the neighborhood board are working with us, or we're working with you, and we've attended your events and you've attended ours, and we wish to thank especially you, Roberta, and Lisa Bishop, and Elizabeth Riley in that regard. Sam Wolf is our local rep, and we thank Johanna Ward, and we thank Joe Gideon for speaking to our groups. At this point, signatures to the petitions are not only in the thousands in person, but also the thousands online. So together, those are multi-thousands overall. On behalf of our many leaders, beginning with Cheryl Park and Oscar Ramirez, and with thanks to the staffs of Chair Waters, people like Kevin and Adam who are here tonight, and many others do the actual work to make sure our petition gets out. Jillian Anderson, Leo, many others, Danielle, we thank them. And we thank all the rest of you who put this on your websites and your publications. Please ask your group to sign the petition if they haven't. And anyone who wants to contact me, I'm available. Thank you, Roberta, for your own leadership, friendship, support, and this opportunity to let all know we welcome volunteers, we welcome announcements, posting, other forms of support, and we appreciate the positive spirit of protecting and preserving, rather than the adversarial spirit of ignoring what the majority of this community want. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Come on up.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Michael Garrison. I am the owner of Hawaii Running Lab. I think this is the 4th or 5th time I've come to talk to everybody here. Same drill, 6 months apart, 6 months apart. We are preparing for our 4th Hawaii Kai Mile. It goes on March 29th, Sunday morning, 7 a.m. We'll start up at the skate park in Hawaii Kai and finish at Kaiser High School. It is a fun, flat, and fast course. It's really just geared toward everybody that wants to get out and be active. We have some fast people that come, but the majority of the folks that are out there are just coming out, having a good time. Early bird registration ends this weekend, so this is as cheap as it's going to get. Kids pricing 17 and under does not change. That's kind of our core demographic, and we want to try to get as many kids out as possible. So far, as of just about 15 minutes ago, we have 35 people signed up, and 10 of them are kids. So we're super stoked on that. And yeah, we close one lane of the road. It's really just for about 45 minutes. Race starts at 7. Most everybody is done, and we're off the Kaiser High School campus by 8:15 on Sunday morning. And just want to let you guys know and answer any questions if the board or anybody in the community has any questions for me.
Thank you, Michael. Are there any questions for Michael on the Hawaii Kai Mile?
Yes, and you can go to hawaiikaimile.com to sign up, and I have some flyers right here on the back table as well.
All right. Good luck on that project.
Thanks, Roberta. You guys take care.
Other community announcements. I do have one that I would like to share with the community. Sergeant Blair Wolfert from the Hawaii Department of Law Enforcement Training Office wrote to let me know and to let the community know that the Department of Law Enforcement will be conducting low-light firearms training at the Cocoa Head Firing Complex on Friday nights. They will conclude no later than 9 p.m. And please note, this is not going to be every Friday, but if you do hear gunshots on Friday evening, they are conducting some low light training, which is a requirement for law enforcement. So any questions on that announcement? Other announcements? Elizabeth?
I wanted to announce that at the request of Chair Mayor, I'm going to be holding a Planning and Zoning Committee meeting, and Joanna Ward's going to co-chair it with me. This is March 3rd at the Hawaiʻi Kai Library at 6 o'clock. An agenda will be sent out. And the purpose and intent is to engage with Group 70 as it relates to Cocoa Villas. Thank you.
All right, if there are no other community announcements, we're going to be moving on to public generated issues. And Craig Gorsuch has something that he would like to share with the board and the community.
Aloha kako, happy 2026. My name is Craig Gorsuch. I'm a manager at the Kolau Mountain Watershed Partnership. Very proud to lead a team of field biologists who are on the front lines of invasive species control up in the Kolau Mountains. And I'm here tonight to talk about a hooved animal fence that's being proposed for the Upper Pia Valley in the Kuli'o'o Forest Reserve and Natural Area Reserve. And I want to start out by saying that rain follows the forest. Protecting our Mauka forest is basically protecting the source of Hawaii's water. Native forests are the most efficient ecosystem to capture rain and over time replenish the aquifer and also produce a vegetation that's very healthy for preventing sedimentation and supporting native species. Protecting our mackerel forest is an essential first step for watershed prevention to prevent hooved animals like pigs and sheep and deer and goats from trampling and devouring vegetation. Once that happens, there's a high degree of erosion and an opening for alien plants to move in that increase consumption of water and increase runoff into streams and sedimentation to the ocean. So installing protective fences is one way, and removing hooved animals is one way that's been proven to be one of the most cost-effective and long-term methods to stop damage to the remote native forest. And that's what I'm here to talk about today, because there is a proposal to install a ungulate fence at the top of Pia Valley in the Kuli'o'o Forest Reserve and Natural Area Reserve in the Kolau Mountains that would enclose about 522 acres of land that's controlled by the Department of Land and Natural Resources that would be about 21,000 feet long in the upper Pia Valley towards the ridge line. And this is an area that has predominant native species that include the alahe'e, ule, ohia, llama, iliahi, akoko, willy willy are plants that are up there along with some Hawaiian native snails, endangered insects, Hawaiian forest birds. So there's an important component to protect endangered species and also to provide hunting opportunity as well. About one third of this, about 240 acres, is currently a public hunting area. It's on the west side of this area that will be enclosed. There are going to be 7 step-over gates installed that will allow access for hikers and also for hunters to go into the fenced area. So I just want to let people know about it. I'll put some flyers by the door. Also, there was a flyer, hunter flyer, that was emailed out to the board members as well for your awareness. And I just wanted to thank you for your time and your attention, let you know about this project. Mahalo.
Questions for Craig? Elizabeth?
Are you familiar with Pico Ridge? Oh, Craig?
Paiku Ridge, no.
Pico Ridge, right above Pico Lagoon.
I'm not.
Because the land goes up towards the very back where the Elopayo
Yeah.
are. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am.
So is this fence going to be going across in that area just as well?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's going to be just west of that area.
Just west of it? Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll connect with you.
please do.
I will, because
Yeah.
of the boundary. Yeah, I'll talk.
Well,
to you.
I'd like to, I'll give out my phone number. You can reach me is 808-420-8072. You can also email me at ko'olalpartnership@gmail.com. ko'olalpartnership@gmail.com. And I also have some flyers by the door with the contact information.
Oh, I was going to ask also, it was predominantly all state land?
Yes.
Or part of it?
It is. It is all state land currently, yes.
And funded by DLNR?
Through DLNR. It's actually funded through federal sources, including NOAA. It's going through Malama Mauna Lua as well, along with the Ko'olau Mountain Watershed Partnership to implement, release an invitation for quotation, and oversee the work.
And Craig, I'm assuming that you are also making a presentation to the Kuli'o'o board?
Yes, next week. Correct.
Other questions from the neighborhood board? Yes, Lisa?
So I'm going to ask one question. What's the downside of this? Is there really one? I don't think there is, but is there a downside to it?
I don't see a downside. The only downside could be the removing pigs from an area that's currently used for public hunting. So even though the hunters are going to have access through step-over gates into the western side of this area, which currently hosts 240 acres of public hunting area. So over time, we are looking for assist from hunters to help to remove hooved animals from inside the fence. But over time, those numbers will reduce. There'll be more pigs on the outside than on the inside. So there could be concern about losing public hunting area. Yeah, or more, but initially, we're going to encourage hunters to go in.
Any other questions? Robbie?
What determined the lines you guys picked for this? I'm just curious why it doesn't extend through Hawaiʻi.
A couple of factors. One is the DOFA recommendation, and the others is the available funds, the cost per linear foot. Yeah.
All right, Craig, thank you very.
Thank you.
One moment.
Oh, yeah.
We have a question from one of our board members online. Paige, go ahead.
Hi, thank you so much for your presentation. Do you have a map that you could get to us of where all the fencing is going to be and where the gates are going to be?
Yeah, the public hunting flyer included a map, and I also just handed out a more detailed map that shows the location of the 7 gates, and I will email a PDF of that to Roberto. Is that
Thank you. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
And Paige, I did send that out last week, I think. In
Then I have
preparation
it.
for-
Then I have it in my
Yes.
stack of paperwork. So thank you so much.
Okay.
Roberta?
Yes, Paula.
Hi there, Craig. I'd like to know what this land is already zoned at.
is already what?
Zoned at? What the zone?
It is a natural area reserve and a forest reserve controlled by the Department of Forestry and Wildlife under DLNR.
And is this potentially something that can increase its value as far as preservation lands?
Preservation, yes, for natural resources and also cultural resources.
Again, thank you very much, Craig, for sharing all of that.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
sure.
Herb, go ahead.
Mine is a safety question. We're going to have people shooting up in the mountains. Is it projected to be safe?
Well, there are state laws that require permits for hunting, and we're not changing any of the existing public hunting area. This fence over time will hopefully transition pigs out of this area, but this is an area that's already open for public hunting.
Thank you.
Craig, is it, could I simplify by saying that you're putting up the fence, you're hoping that the pigs will exit the area in order to preserve the
Yes.
fauna so
Yes.
that you have less, the flora, so that you have less runoff.
Both flora and fauna and reduce sedimentation from erosion down to the ocean. I can go on, but also it's also important for rapid ohia death because what's been learned is that the disturbance of the root system at the ground level is one of the ways the fungus gets into ohia. So ungulates are one of the primary ways to spread rod or rapid ohia. So this also is, it has a big scope for protecting the ecosystem.
Okay. I
Mahalo.
think that's all the questions. Thank you so much for coming and sharing that with us tonight. We're going to be moving on to our to our presentations. And first presentation is on the Verizon proposed telecommunication facility at the Hawaiʻi Golf Course. And our presenter is Stephen Sung. He is with Site Acquisition Agent to Verizon.
Good evening. Good evening, Chair, Mayor, board members, and attendees. My name is Steve Sung, representing Verizon Wireless. The proposed Verizon installation of the new telecommunication facility is located at Hawaiʻi Golf Course at the 10th hole next to the well, it's right at the corner. It's right at the corner, as you can see, with the yellow thumb it's pointed on the there you go. It's right at the corner of the 10th hole, the tee box. Excuse me. So as you can see, what the two arrows going north and going east. So this site is mainly trying to cover the Kaiwi Trail and the parking area going north, and then also going southwest, trying to hit Sandy Beach and also the blowhole. So it's only trying to cover those two areas. We're not shooting up north or northwest of all the residential areas. So this is mainly for safety concerns. Just in case, you have people that are going on the trail, they lose, they have emergency, they need to call someone. This should improve the coverage around that area. Also, blowhole and also Sandy Beach as well. So if you can go to, Anson, go to, yeah, screen 2. So this is, if you can see in the left is current location, and the right is where the, the proposed cell tower is a monopine, 50-foot tower, stealth tower that looks like a pine tree with the pine needles. It goes up to 55 feet. But basically the equipment cabinets will be fenced right next to the tower within a 15 by 30 lease area. If you can go to screen 3. Yeah, so this is another view of the monopine, the stealth pine tree. This photo does not do it justice. Actually, if you look to the right, there are pine trees that are lined up that are taller than 50 feet. So it really then blends in well if you're driving on Kalaniana Ole going up toward the trail area. So, or coming back down to Sandy's, you can the new tower will blend in real nice with what are existing, the pine trees out there. So if you can go to the next one, and this is just the overall site plan that shows the 15 by 30 lease area, as well as where the antennas are shooting at. Once again, going north toward northeast toward the trail area, and also southwest hitting Sandy's and the blowhole area. And then the last one is another elevation view what the leased area in the tower looks like. That's pretty much conclude my presentation. I can answer any questions.
Stephen, let me ask
Yes.
the first question. Is this going to be a new tower?
Correct.
There's nothing there right now.
No.
And the reason that this is being implemented is to provide better coverage for cell phone
For
devices.
Verizon customers, better coverage and also capacity for, people that a lot of people goes to that trail. Early morning, I've been there like 5 o'clock in the morning. There are people parked there. They go up. If they run into any problem, early light before the sun comes out, if they run into trouble, sometimes, you can bring your own phone. I went up there with my own phone. Coverage is not that good at all. It's spotty at best. So, also the blowhole area as well.
And how large is the footprint?
15 by 30. And it will be fenced, again, next to the tee box.
Next to the.
Where they tee off. Sorry.
All right. Other questions for Stephen? Any questions from our audience? No?
I do have a favor to ask. Part of the conditional use permit with the neighborhood board presentation, we were supposed to mail out, notification letters to neighboring property owners within 500 feet of all the property lines. We're working with the mainline company, and it did not go out in time. So I'm gonna, if you don't mind, come back in the February meeting and do it again with all the residents. They'll be notified. Hope you don't mind. See me again in February.
All right. You're welcome back. And hopefully, Herb, go ahead.
From what I've seen, including the one on the other side of the golf course.
Yes.
These fake trees
yeah.
aren't the greatest looking. I'm okay with getting reception, but is this a different one? Because you can spot them a mile away.
Yeah, so the one that is currently on the, I think, fifth hole or fourth hole, that tower has been up, I think, over 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. So, when you look at, if you have like those stealth palm trees or stealth pine trees, the needles comes off, palm fronds comes off. So, it's a lot of upkeep, which, I can mention it. I actually know who owns the tower. I can mention it to them, and see if they can upgrade that tower. But being the Verizon tower is going to be brand new. So, all the, pine needles would be brand new, and it'll look like a good stealth tower. Thank you.
Elizabeth?
So I guess I'll ask the question in
Sure.
your lease agreement. Do you have something in there as far as maintenance, knowing now that it could last looking as good as it does for about 10 years or 15 years?
Trust me, when I spoke with the golf course general manager and owners, they were very adamant that needs to be very much upkeep. They don't, especially being in Kananiaʻalole, which is different from where the other tower is located. They definitely want upkeep to be very, very strict. If they report anything coming down or color looks faded, Verizon would definitely come back and we paint it and do whatever it needs to do. Yeah, thank you.
Other questions? You'll have to come on up to the microphone.
Thank you. I'm just an ordinary citizen. Since this could be confused with vegetation by some forms of wildlife, especially in bad weather, is there any possibility that any species could receive an electric shock, or for that matter, the species called golfers?
No, I'm not that I've never heard any any animals or humans being struck by lightning near a cell tower. Yeah, they have what they call a they put a little small antennas that kind of absorb the shock of if it ever happens. But yeah, no, not that I know. Maybe I'll find out and report that in my February presentation.
That would be good. Other questions? Do you have a question? Come on up.
I have a question about the coverage. So you're saying that right now there's a challenge in that particular area. Besides you, what other towers are out?
You know, so it all depends. You know, different cell phone carriers, they have their tower, they install their tower in different areas, depending on, where they have their RF coverage. When they first built out their network. In Verizon's case, where we want to put that tower, the 10th hole, would cover that. But with other carriers, I really don't know. I don't do much work for them.
So
Yeah.
the justification for the ask is based upon
The coverage you need, capacity.
so more specific, though, what kind of volume of customers are we talking about?
Well, I mean, yeah, so really people that go to the trail, people that visit Sandy Beach, people that goes to the blowhole, and the parking area, it covered, sometimes, like I said, early morning, you can see there's no parking. People
The
are,
difficulty I'm having.
yeah.
That as one of the biggest carriers in the nation and stuff, you guys say we need a tower in this one particular area. What's the difference with the other, big carriers going, hey, we need the same kind of redundancy?
Well, again, they can co-locate on that tower possibly, or they can, put it near in Hawaii Golf Course, maybe, or, somewhere around the area. If they're lacking coverage in the area that we're trying to cover. Again, all the cell phone carriers, most cases, the coverage are different, where they, where they put their towers are in different areas. They don't put, a lot of times they are in the same area, but a lot of different times they're, they have one tower somewhere else, maybe half a mile away or even a mile away from Verizon.
I apologize about this. And the thing that's sticking with me is.
You need to
Could you
speak into
please
the
speak
mic,
into the-
please. Speak into the
Sorry.
mic. They can't hear
Yeah,
you
I
online.
apologize about being, narrow on this. But usually when they make investments like this, it's driven right by customers. Yeah. The need from. And so I would understand when I'm asking you, what's the volume like and such of the complaints and stuff? You're just giving me a generic, guys climb the mountains, whatever, but rather than something specific saying, hey, we've got 200,000 customers out, something to that degree that would justify some placing of the pole. And the only reason why is that, right, again, I come to, okay, so you're going to have other guys asking. So you're saying we're going to be the first ones in.
Correct, but it really not, obviously they're trying to cover a certain area. Sometimes they cover a more dense area like, downtown, it covers more customers. But in this case, they're really spending the money trying to cover less customers, but just knowing the area needs the coverage, especially when you go to the trail, someone's get hurt, they need to use, call someone and they can't get the coverage. Verizon wants to make sure that their customer is able to, Yes, sir. No worries. Thank you.
One more question,
Please.
Roberta, sorry.
Paula?
A lot of tourists from the mainland probably are Verizon customers, make those sunset and sunrise hikes up to all the trails. So I would
Sure.
imagine there's another customer base for Verizon as well.
Sure. No, absolutely. I mean, anybody that's going into the trail, anybody that's visiting, Sandy Beach, locals, tourists, whatever, we just want to make sure that our customer has, in case they need to use the phone, in case they're a big crowd, that we have capacity for everybody to be able to make a call,
Quick question.
So would you kindly share with Chair Mayor
who the provider is that has the tree on, I think you said it was on the golf course on hole 5?
Oh, it's American Tower Company, I believe. So they're a tower company that leases space to the cell phone carriers. I believe T-Mobile is there. Uh,
Okay.
maybe AT&T.
But you know how to reach them?
Hmm?
You know how to reach them?
So in the case of the existing tower
Yeah.
on the fifth hole, the owner is already reaching out to them.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, Stephen, thank you very much for your presentation, and we'll
See
see
you in
you back
February.
here next month. All right. Our next presentation is the GROW pilot program. GROW stands for Green Recycling Organic Waste, and our presenter is Henry Gabriel from the Recycling Program Branch, or he is the Recycling Program Branch Chief from the Department of Environmental Services Refuse Division. Welcome, Henry.
Thank you, Chair Mayor. Thank you, members of the board. Thank you to the Hawaiʻi community. I'm here to present on the GROW program. Once again, it stands for Green Recycling Organic Waste. Currently, we collect green waste in your green composting cart. What we want is to add food waste to that. And so this program is going to start April 1st, 2026. And I'll go through a series of slides to give you some idea of what this green program is about. So just kind of overview really quick. So GROW is our acronym. Include the food is our slogan. So you're going to hear me say include the food. You're going to hear me say GROW. These are all ways to try and encourage all of you to participate in this program. Next slide, please. So the purpose of this presentation, it's really to just introduce, promote, and then educate all of you on this GROW program. We want your food waste. We want your scrap foods. We want all of that diverted from the waste stream. And this program is something that I'm passionate about. I do it at home already. And so I want to really share what I feel is going to benefit City and County of Honolulu overall. Next slide. So what is changing? This is what we want. We want your food scraps. You want your wasted food. These areas are where we're going to pilot this program, Hawaiʻi being one of them. You will, for those that are participating, you will receive a mailer. And then from there, we're going to be collecting the food waste in your green composting cart. Next slide. So what can go in the green composting cart? So normally when you're doing backyard composting, they don't want food waste. You don't want to put in meats and dairies and things like that. But in this program and our contractor, Hawaiian Earth Recycling, they'll be able to accept all of these items: fruits, vegetables, dairy products, solids and semi-solids. Those things are like your yogurts and your ice creams, bread, baked goods, pasta, rice grains, cereals, bean, nuts, meats, food, poultry. All of what you see here will now go into the green composting cart come April 1st. On top of that, the regular stuff, your green waste, your green clippings, leaves, branch, hedge trimmings, palm fronds, and then natural Christmas trees. So really, when we're encouraging all of you, we want it all. We want all your food waste. We want all your green waste. That way it's diverted from the waste stream. If it goes into our gray cart now, it's just going to waste the energy. And why are we burning food waste? Why are we burning organic material that has a high moisture content? It's energy neutral. So why not divert it to a waste or a composting company that will turn into compost, and then we start that circular, we close that loop. Right now it's linear. Next slide, please. So what cannot go into the green cart? So liquids are important. We don't want your fat, oil, grease. We don't want that. That is what happens when those types of things enter a truck. Then you're going to see spillage on the road if there's any leak on the truck. Paper products. These are your compostables that you see when you go out. We don't want that at the moment. At the moment. Plastic, metal, glass. These are containers. And believe me, when I say plastic, metal, glass, people already put plastic, metal, glass into the green composting bin. So I'm trying to be really clear that we don't want the container. We just want the content. Then once again, fat, oil, grease, manufacture compostable materials. These are the things, like I mentioned, that when you're buying takeout or you're going to a restaurant, you get something that says compostable. Right now, well, we're not accepting that. We're thinking about, we will be accepting that probably in the next couple of years. Our concern with that is PFAS, the forever chemical. No pet waste, no coffee cups, no takeout containers, corks, and then especially dirt, rock, brick, and plant pots. When we go to Hawaiian Earth and we look at the loads coming in from the city trucks, this is what we see. So we don't just see 100% green waste. We will see dirt, rock, a garden hose that's green. We will see all of this. So I'm not trying to be sarcastic about it. I'm just trying to be real about it. Next slide, please. And then how will residents participate? The recycling branch is going to have community workshops. And then we are going to introduce best management practices. A lot of times what I hear is that, oh, I don't have room in my freezer. Okay, well, if you really want to participate in this, I highly encourage you to find room in your freezer. On the left of me, we have these kitchen containers. For those that come to our workshop, you will get a kitchen container to be able to put food scraps in. From there, on the left-hand side too, you see a reusable silicone gallon-sized bag. We will be providing those to those that come to our workshop too. One is for starting it, and then there's got to be redundancy because hopefully you're not, but if you're continuously generating food waste, you got to have that extra bag. And then on top of that, what we're going to be educating people on is layering the green waste. So green waste first, food waste on top. Green waste next, food waste on top. That way, that green waste at the bottom is absorbing any moisture because of the food waste. Anything else? This is very important. Your collection day will remain the same. There is no change to your schedule. So if your green composting cart is being serviced on Thursday, on April 1st, 2026, same Thursday. Now, if your green composting cart happens to be on Christmas, refuse division, we don't work on Christmas. And we always tell you, we won't pick it up until the following pickup. So in that sense, we just have to be kind of aware. You could either store it into your freezer, wait 4 weeks, or just like how we're doing now, just put it into your gray compost, your gray trash cart. Hopefully it'll be just that one time. Next slide, please. Can residents self-drop off? Yes. So you can go to Hawaiian Earth Products. They're in Wahiawa. And if you do have food waste, you can drop it off 2 loads per day. Bring green waste as well. You don't want to go with just food waste. Go there. It's trek from here. So go there with definitely a full truckload. City transfer stations and convenience centers will not be collecting food waste. Strictly green waste. So the food waste collection is for curbside only. Next slide. So what happens to the food scraps and the wasted food? It's going to Hawaiian Earth Recycling. They're in Wahiawa. They have an in-vessel composting system. So they have a receiving bay. It's the Gore system. So green waste and food waste is first, they take out all the contaminants. They'll grind it up. They'll put it into these concrete pads. They'll cover it with this Gore cover, and then it'll be controlled by one operator who then controls the moisture, the aeration, and within 3 months, they're already producing a compost. They produce compost right now. It's green waste only, but it takes 6 months. They're doing just a windrow system. This will be able to take not only green waste, but food waste as well, and they can produce compost much faster. Next slide. And then this is the real reason why we're doing this. the city wants to divert as much material from the waste stream. So that way we're not impacting H-Power, H-Power Waste to Energy. We're not impacting our landfill. So 60,000 tons of residential green waste is produced each year. Come based on a study we did in 2017. So part of me feels is like, why are we wasting so much food? Why not? How come we're doing this? So if we're not going to change our ways and we're going to continue to produce this amount, we've got to be able to divert this material so that way it's not entering our waste stream. Even better, we should be generating less. And this is only residential food waste. So we still have the commercial side that is going into our waste stream. So with what we're doing now, the hope is that we capture all of this food waste, we turn it into compost, and then we as residents of city and county, we start to purchase to close the loop. Next slide, please. And this is what we'll be doing for the next 9 months. 6 months is for the pilot, and then we go island-wide, and we're going to continue our education, our public workshops, social media. We do have a web page that went live yesterday, envhonolulu.gov /Opala, I believe. It's on the back of it's on the last slide. Went live. All the information that I kind of sped through is within this web page. I think this is the next slide. Thank you for your time. Are there any questions? Yes, at the end.
Herb?
What are you guys going to be doing for the townhouses and condominiums who don't have curbside?
So if the townhomes, the condominiums, normally they're privately serviced. If they want to start to collect food waste, once again, you can go to Hawaiian Earth directly and drop off 2 loads.
Is pickup just 1 day a week?
No, your pickup is not going to change. So your green compost pickup is twice per month. Yeah, twice per month. So it's not going to change. It rotates with the blue recycling card.
And are you spending a lot of time with the schools that have a lot of waste, food waste?
We do presentations at schools. We've approached the DOE to be able to, because that is a concern. They are a large generator of food waste. But because they're a state entity, we really can't, we can only educate them. We can only connect the dots. But it would be up to the state at that point to make it work.
Okay. Elizabeth?
How can we find out about the workshops and
Once the
when might they
mailer,
start?
we'll be posting it. We'll be communicating with the neighborhood boards as well when the community workshops will start. We've gone to, I think, 4 neighborhood board meetings. Each neighborhood board meeting that we go to, we're going to have a workshop in that area.
Paige? Your question?
Hi. So I think this is a really lofty, ambitious project. And I just am a little concerned because, Portlock Road, we have alleys on the Mackay side of Portlock Road. And we've been told in the past when I've made inquiries about being a part of the recycling program and getting blue or green bins for people who live on the Mackay side of the road, we were told that the reason that we can't get those bins is because the trucks can't get down the alleyways. And I have a lot of neighbors who have absolutely no problem pulling their bins out to the street on whatever day it is that the pickup happens. But you're expanding a program, but you're not improving the program that you have. I mean, if the residents are willing to do the recycling, and I would think that you guys would want to try and include everybody who wants to recycle, but we're being told, no, I'm sorry, you live in the wrong place and we're not going to give you bins, then I don't understand that, because your trucks don't go from address to address. They don't pick up at 123 and then pick up at 128 and then they don't pick up like that. If there's a bin on the road, they pick it up. So why can't the people on the Mackay side of Portlock get recycling services and blue and green bins to begin with before starting a whole new program? And again, excluding these people that live, and it's not just Portlock Road. There are other areas on this island where people live down alleyways or live down places, and they're excluded from recycling. That's my first thing. The second thing is my suggestion would be, because of the rodent issue, and there with the number of pest control companies in this state, I would think that that would be a concern. Maybe instead of just having one place where people can do a drop off, maybe you have a drop off center a little bit more toward the places where you're doing these pilot programs, so that if somebody doesn't want that waste in their house for 2 weeks and they can't fit it in their freezer, that there's a place that they can go and do a drop off, and then you guys can handle taking it out to Wahiawa. Because I can tell you, I'm not driving to Wahiawa to go dump my eggshells. That's not going to happen. So it's just a suggestion that maybe you open up a collection site, maybe where you said Hawaii Kai, I saw Mililani, a few different places, but maybe you have a collection site, because not all of Hawaii Kai is Saturdays and Wednesdays. So you would be able to get collections from people who want to participate, but don't have the means within their households to do so.
No, so to address your first concern about not having recyclables or not having recycling services. So I'm not familiar with the area, but if it is limited by size, that is the real reason why we can't service it, is because we don't have the truck size to then fit down that alley or that lane. We also have that issue in Wailua. We have that issue in Honolulu. Now we are addressing that. We are looking at smaller trucks. We are looking at retrofitting rear loader style trucks with tippers. We're going to have to pilot that as well to see, okay, does it work? It does work.
We're not asking you to come down the alleys. Residents on Portlock are saying that they will pull the bins to the street. You already come down the street and pick up the recycling from the other side of the street. Literally, what is that? From curb to curb, 20 feet? The trucks go down Portlock Road and they go and pick up all the recycling on one side, but they won't do it on the Mackay side of the road because of the alleyways. But the neighbors here, the residents here, are willing to put their stuff in their blue or green bins and pull them out to the street to be picked up. And we've talked to you about this many times. This has been mentioned, and we keep being told, no, they won't go down the alleys. But you're not listening to what the residents are saying, which is, we're not expecting you to come down the alleys. We know that you can't. We understand that. But I'd like to dump my green waste and get it recycled, and I have no problem pulling that out to the street.
Yeah, no, we can look into that. Like I mentioned, I'm not too familiar with the area. So I'd have to ask our collection branch, send out inspectors to relook at this and find out the real reason why we can't provide carts on that side of the street. If we're already going down one side of the street, we can look into that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And then secondly, you had you did have a good recommendation about drop off of food waste. We are looking into that as well. That would be somewhat of a next phase to this. So that way, for those that don't have, recycling, they can drop it off. But we want to launch this GROW program first. And then once this program matures, then we'll look at other ways to collect more food waste from those that don't have city services.
All right. Other questions? Yes, Greg?
So what kind of monitoring and enforcement might there be, especially after the pilot period?
So we're definitely going to be going cart to cart and checking to see, one, are people participating? Are they, what type of foods? Is there any contamination? We will be going to Hawaiian Earth, looking at a whole truckload to then see doing the same thing, to see if there's contamination, and then do we have to do more education? So we will be doing monitoring after the fact in hopes that we can learn so we can educate the other communities based on what we're learning from this pilot.
And would there be any penalties or fines to those who don't comply?
No, I mean, we're not out there to find people. We want to really just educate people on how to do it correctly from the source.
Other questions for Henry? You'll have to come up to the microphone if you want to ask a question. So come on up.
My name is Raynette Hall. I live in the Kamiluiki Valley area, kind of close to her. My question is, I'm a mom of teenage boys, and teenage boys don't always follow directions. So the education part is great, but what my concern is, the rodents that she had asked about. Is there a program that you guys are following that has worked? And where is that program being done? That's one of my questions.
There was a slide. And so in that slide, one of the best management practices is the reason why we mentioned freezing the food. So once you have your food scraps and then you freeze your food, all we ask is that the day before, the night before, or the morning of your pickup, that is when you would put it out. Odors are going to be an issue. Baking soda is one way to eliminate odors. To prevent, especially the rodents and things like that. That's why we mentioned the freezer. I'd have to go look. We did contact a few municipalities. I'd have to see which municipality is or how they are controlling any type of rodent issue.
That's not everyone has the capability to put it in the freezer. I cook a lot, but we have a lot of people who have parties and things like that. So on those nights, are we supposed to just throw it in our gray bin rather than participate? Or, are you guys going to get compostable bags? Because our big thing is we make sure our boys tie the rubbish can or the rubbish bag really good so nothing gets into our trash. But if you guys aren't taking compostable things yet, compostable bags might be key for those types of things. That way the rodents won't go inside. That's a suggestion from me. I think this is a great program, but I don't know how well it will work. I live by a canal, and already because the canal is not maintained, the grass grows too high. We have mice back there. So we're very vigilant about making sure everything is tied up real tight. Our doors and everything are closed real well because they show up. So I appreciate what you're doing, but there's a lot of things.
Yeah, no. Once again, the reason why we didn't want to include anything compostable, even the compostable bags, is because of PFAS. Once that forever chemical ends up in the compost, then what do you do with the compost? And so that's why we're kind of putting that on hold for now, until we can work with DOH and the contractor to figure out some sort of threshold, for PFAS limits. The food waste already goes into your gray trash cart. So we're encouraging you to participate into this program. There are ways that you can make it work. You just got to change your ways. But I get it. I mean, I understand that. But for myself, having three kids and my wife, we produce 1 gallon of food waste per week. And so I not only do bokashi, I do backyard composting, and then this will just be another option for me. So it's just that mindset. You know, are you willing to give it a try? You know, because when you look at the bigger picture and where that food waste is going, you know, what's the better option? Really, the better option is not to generate food waste in the first place, but what is your second option? You know, to be a solid waste manager on site. You know, so there are ways to do it, and I'm more than willing to work with the community with this.
Thank you very much, Henry. We appreciate it. I think this is a very laudable project, and I hope you have much success.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We're going to be going on with our agenda, and next is the announcement of our vacancies on our board. I mentioned at the start of the meeting that we are a 15-member board. We have 12 seats filled and 3 vacancies in subdistricts 1, 7, and 8. Are there any volunteers who would like to join us on the board who represent those subdistricts? All right, seeing none, I would like to let the community know and the board members that in response to the letter that we sent to the Neighborhood Commission Board to temporarily change our vacant subdistrict seats to at-large seats so that other volunteers from the community who do not reside in those specific districts might be able to join us and serve their community. The Neighborhood Commission Board met last night and they did vote to approve our request. So I am announcing to the community that at our February board meeting, we will be considering volunteers for 3 vacant at-large seats. And I will also be contacting members of the board who served in at-large positions last term to see if they are interested in coming out again to join the neighborhood board. So people who are watching online, if you are interested in volunteering your services, we'd be very happy to have you. Next on our agenda are our officials' reports, and we're going to be starting with Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative, Amy Asselby, who is with us online. Amy?
Thank you, Chair Mayor. I intended to be there tonight, but am not feeling well, so I will see you all next month. I have just a couple quick updates. But first, one announcement from the mayor, which is that the city has launched a new and improved Honolulu 311 system. And this is particularly relevant because a board member contacted me today about how to share information with the city on a problem sidewalk. And so 311 existed previously, but it's been updated and improved, and any resident can use it. There is a mobile app, which you could get on your app store, whether you have an Apple or an Android device, or you can visit the website hnl311.com. So this new 311 system, it's more intuitive and easy to navigate. And so residents should be pleased and hopefully able to submit any issue. It goes directly to the department that is responsible for the type of request that is submitted. And if the user registers for an account, you will get notified whenever there is a status update to the request. And so the Department of Information Technology who created this wanted to remind everyone that the city can only fix issues and solve the problems that we know about. So instead of taking a video of a broken sink and posting it to Instagram, snap a couple of those photos and let the city know by submitting it through hnl311.com. So I hope that's helpful. I feel like this comes up every couple of months with an issue that people would like the city to address. And I hope this is an easy way to submit those requests. If you have any issues with it, let me know and I'll bring it up with the department and see if there's a workaround or if there's something that needs to be improved to address any of your problems. I had two questions, one about Cocoa Crater Stables and another one about feral cats. And so with regard to Cocoa Crater Stables, I am told I will have a more thorough update next month in my February report. But what I can say today is that the Department of Design and Construction is working with the Department of Enterprise Services on water line improvements for the nearby area. They are currently in the design phase, and when completed, will modernize the water supply system up to the stables, but not into the property. So I don't think that's necessarily an update. I believe I provided that information before. So I apologize. This isn't really new information yet. And I am told that we'll have more new information on what's happening with Cocoa Crater Stables for our February meeting. So thank you for your patience with me and the responsible city departments. Next, I wanted to follow up on a question about feral cats. A board member had asked, is the city working on any kind of policy regarding the management of feral cats? And so the city department is the customer services department that kind of manages our Humane Society contract, and they have another contract with Sandwich Isles to help with chickens. So their response is that right now, while there is no specific city policy on free roaming cats, the city is in partnership with the Hawaiian Humane Society to control the city's population of stray cats. The city supports the initiatives at the Hawaiian Humane Society through their feral kitten adoption program and the Feline Fix program. But they just wanted to remind everyone also that there is no city policy limiting the number of cats that an individual may possess on their private property. And there is no other citywide formal cat management policy in place. So that is what was shared with me from customer services. And I am dropping the mayor's most recent newsletter in the chat for those of you who are online and want to read more, but I welcome your questions or feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Questions for the mayor's representative, Lisa?
Thank you, Amy. I wanted to thank you for responding to my query earlier today on this 311 line, and I appreciate the information. We'll use it immediately. Thank you.
Other questions for the mayor's representative? I don't see any, Amy. So thank you very much for your report. Appreciate it, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year. See you next month.
Okay. Next on our agenda is the City Council Chair, Tommy Waters' office, and welcome, Tommy Waters. Good to see you.
Hello, Chair. Hello, members. Nice to see you all. Happy New Year. I recognize that I haven't been here as often as you'd like, probably. But rest assured that me and my staff have been working diligently on a one-on-one basis with many of you and our constituents. I did bring with me my new Chief of Staff, Kevin Imanaka. Folks may remember Davin Aoyagi, who's now a successful businessman and lobbyist at the legislature. And then Corey Chun he was my Chief of Staff. Now he is a representative in the Hawaii State Legislature. So Kevin Imanaka has some big shoes to fill, but so far, those of you who've gotten to know him know that he's fantastic. And by de facto, my Deputy Chief of Staff, Adam Du, is here. Adam, everybody knows Adam, right? So if you need any help, please don't hesitate to call or email us. We're happy to work with you. At the City Council, we take time to recognize and honor those in our community who make an impact on a local, state, or national level. And I just wanted to try something new, and I wanted to start doing this at all 7 of my neighborhood boards that I attend. But if I could start by recognizing this month Elizabeth Riley and Roberta Mayor. Elizabeth, in recognition of your exceptional dedication, leadership, and unwavering commitment to environmental stewardship and community advocacy, through your tireless work, collaboration, and vision, the final 3.5 acres at Pico Ridge in Kuli'o'o is now protected in perpetuity. Your efforts exemplify the spirit of Kuleana and reflect your long-standing dedication to preserving the natural and cultural resources of East Honolulu. Your leadership in this achievement ensures that Pico Ridge will remain a place of ecological resilience, scenic value, and community significance for generations to come. So mahalo to you. And by the way, I recognize that I probably could give each and every one of you an award, but I wanted to start with Elizabeth and Roberta. So Chair Mayor, in recognition of your exceptional commitment and longstanding service to the Hawaii Kai community, since joining the Hawaii Kai Neighborhood Board in November 2010, 15 years ago, and serving as chair since February 19th, you have demonstrated steadfast leadership, thoughtful decision-making, and an unwavering dedication to improving the quality of life for residents. So mahalo for the many years of public service and for your vital role in strengthening the civic fabric of East Honolulu. Mahalo. So a couple of things to report. I know it was brought up earlier about the feral cat problem. By the way, it's not just in Hawaii Kai, it's actually island-wide. And it is a problem for various reasons. But I know at this neighborhood board, there was a very heated debate about what to do. And there were people who were actually, dismembering the cats. And we have a lot of kids who catch the bus there. And so Kevin, working with the community, and we have here today Stephanie Kendrick from the Humane Society, along with Aloha Kitty members, who actually worked together with the Department of Transportation Services. And it took a little bit of arm twisting to get the Department of Transportation Services to allow the Humane Society to enter into a memorandum of agreement with them to allow access for managed care of the colony. So the Humane Society does vet the colony caretakers, but the idea is that they're going to monitor this area, not allow anybody else to feed the cats except for them, which, by the way, we have to thank them for the volunteer efforts to do this. And then encourage all the people who come there to feed that, hey, no, you can't do that. Another real interesting thing that we learned while putting this agreement together was that some animals are chipped where you can tell if they're lost. And they would find these chipped animals down at the park and ride, which means that neighbors would steal a cat and take them down and drop them off somewhere. So we want to discourage that as well. But I was just amazed to find out that that really happened. I'm like, oh my God. So the good news is, and they're here if you have any questions on how exactly that program is going to work. But they've done it in other communities, so we asked them to come to Hawaii Kai to try to do that. Years ago, I mentioned to you folks the parking problem at the baseball field, the park. And actually it was Elizabeth, you said, well, does it comply with the park plan? So because I put money in the budget to build another parking lot. right? Because anybody who's gone to this park knows that the hikers are competing with the baseball parents for parking. And I've been there myself and I parked on the grass and you go and ticket. The tickets are like $35. So I did get a hold of the plan and we have this picture here. Actually, if we could hold it up this way, Kev. As you enter into the park, between the two existing parking lots, what I've asked the Department of Parks and Recreation to do is put a parking lot there. So I'm hoping you folks will support it. I did meet with the Director of Parks and Recreation, Laura Thielen, and according to the Cocoa Head District Park Master Plan, which you guys would be really interested in seeing, and I'll leave it for you because it's, and by the way, I can't answer questions about it because I didn't make the plan, but it was very, very ambitious. But the plan does call for a parking lot there. So the good news is, of course, if you folks support it, Laura Thielen is willing to do it, which is great. We'll probably start off as what do you call that? Rocks, to put rocks down at first before we can actually get it paved. So that's good news. Also, you know, a few months ago, working with HPD, we piloted a project to put those cameras at the scenic lookouts along the Kaiwi coast. And, you know, I've been working on this actually for years. And apparently at Hanama Bay, there used to be a lot of smash and grabs. And when they put a actual person there with the arm, they stopped. So actually HPD said, you know, we should put those at every lookout. And I thought, you know, that's not reasonable. So working with Major Lynch, who is now a deputy chief, we came up with this idea that we lease those cameras and put them at various spots as a deterrent. And guess what? It works. We went down from 257 break-ins to down to 4. So I just ran into Deputy Chief Lynch recently, and he said the funding's going to run out. So I'm going to support with you folks' support, putting money in the budget this year to extend that. And I think other communities can benefit from this too, because it works. It works. I know some people who were against the cameras, but ultimately it did work. It stopped criminals from breaking into cars. And it doesn't take our police officers off their beat, because whenever our police officers park there, the criminals go someplace else. But the cameras work the same way. So good news, that works. Update on the James property. So I met with Kamehameha Schools and I said, hey, you know, this is after we had a community meeting at Kaiser High School with, geez, must have been about 200 people showed up. And it was great. The community voiced our concerns about what we'd like to see there. And it ranged from a school to a museum to a satellite city hall, as mentioned. So I met with Kamehameha Schools and their, I guess it's the president, Jack Wong. And I said, hey, Jack, I hope you're listening to what the community is saying, and see if he's open to either selling it or leasing it to the city. And one of the things we thought of was we're renting space in Hawaiʻi Kai for our satellite city hall. So the idea was possibly moving it there. So we don't have, if we're going to rent space, let's rent it someplace where we can preserve that building. I did get a chance to go in there with Tom and others in the community. It's a really cool building. It really is. Ultimately, it would make sense to put a school there just because there's classrooms everywhere. A preschool would be nice. But we'll see. I'm still going to work on it, try to convince them to do the right thing, right? Kamehameha Schools is going through a lot right now. And I honestly, Tom, I think they kind of put this on their back burner. They're just focused on this lawsuit that's coming up. So, but I'll keep on top of it and keep you folks informed. Cocoa Villas is on your on your agenda. And thank you, Kev, on your agenda. And I met with the developers and I've asked them to come and meet with you folks. It's still really early in the stage of what's going to happen. I did get your letter, by the way, Chair Mayor, taking it to heart. And I just want to encourage you all, there's a couple opportunities for the community to be heard. And ultimately at the city council level, we'll be making the final decision. And I'm going to support whatever this community wants. But you do have an opportunity to comment on the EA. There's an early consultation period, which is happening right now. There's a public agency and comment period, which is going to happen later on in 2026, the third quarter of 2026. And then at the Hawaiʻi Neighborhood Board, they're required to come to you folks, as well as at the Planning Commission in the second quarter of 2027. And then probably, if it does make it that far, at the Honolulu City Council in the third quarter of 2027. So your voices, you got to stand up and make your voices heard. One of the things that they did suggest, though, that there's a large piece of property and it abuts the, I guess, the wastewater plant and the bottom of Cocoa Head, that we could possibly protect that area in perpetuity. Just something to think about. Of course, I'm going to support this community with whatever you folks want as your representative. I know you might have a question about Cocoa Head Stables. We did put $350,000 in the budget this year for them. I gotta please ask for your patience though, because the city works very, very slow when it comes to these projects, unfortunately. And the city council working with the administration is trying to speed these things up, but it does move slow. It's kind of frustrating at times, but just ask for your patience. We're going to get it done. You know, Herb, you've been advocating for this for a long time, and that's it. I'm available. Oh, last thing. Thank you to the neighborhood board person for bringing these. This is our annual City and County of Honolulu calendar. It tells you when each and every one of our full council meetings are, when our committee meetings are, who is on the committees. So please pick one up on your way out if you don't already have one. Super useful. And it gives you each and every one of our email addresses. So if you know who's the chair of a particular committee and there's an issue that's really important to you, just go email the chair. You can always email me too, but the chair of that particular committee or testimony would be super helpful. Anyway, aloha everybody, and I'm available for questions.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate your being here.
I'm an empty nester, by the way. My son is away in college and my daughter too. So I'm going to have more time on the nights and weekends.
Okay, good. Questions? Elizabeth, and then Paula, and then Greg.
I reached out to you earlier, but what I'm going to share right now is not about that. I recently learned that the issue regarding potential wind turbines in the Kaiwi area is back, potentially. Akaki is in an article talking about still working towards that effort. I'll send you the article. I'm going to talk to our other elected officials about this too. It has to do, the starting point is with Hawaiian Electric is looking on what should be built on and off the islands of Oahu, Maui, Molokai, Lanai, and Hawaii in the early 2030s. And so there's a Hawaii Public Utilities Commission. They've opened up a proceeding. Unfortunately, some of us learned about it too late. And so the interveners have already filed. But I think it's very important that collectively we all stay together and share information. So I'm sharing that publicly, and I'll ask some questions of our other elected officials. I know how important Kaiwi and all that area is. There's nothing to do with the other item I wrote to you about. So we still need to talk.
No, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And I'm absolutely opposed to that idea. I'm a paddler. I've done Molokai Channel like 15 times, and it would be horrible to have to pass through a windmill. You know, I think the Trump administration, I thought they killed any wind turbines in
So,
the ocean,
yeah.
but I'm
The
surprised to hear that
reason,
it's.
the reason is because Alkahi spent 3 years lowering the defense posture of that specific area. No other area around the island, but there. And so unless this current administration changes that and raises it back up, because in 2016, they attempted this and it wasn't allowed for defense purposes. But they spent 3 years lowering it during the last administration. So if we can get that back raised, would be okay.
Yeah.
But so in the meantime, we have to all collectively look to protect into Makai.
No, I totally agree. I did attend the meeting in Waimanalo at the neighborhood board and watch the one here, and the community was absolutely against it. But what's interesting about this is that they have these transmission lines to transmit the energy created by the windmills to land. So ultimately, to my fellow elected officials, if you tell DLNR not to give the permit, right, that's where the state can have control over this issue. If you don't have a permit to land those lines, right, why would you spend all this money putting up a windmill if you don't have it? So, I intend to talk to the governor about that as well next time I see him. Lately, I've been seeing him quite a bit, but I'll say, hey, look, get your director of Department of Land and Natural Resources, deny that permit.
And I didn't mean to speak derogatory about HECO. I think they're just doing what they need to do. It's the interveners that are coming in with this idea.
Yeah.
So FYI.
No, interesting. Real quick tidbit, you were walking door to door in Hawaiʻi Valley recently. Did you guys know, and I didn't know this until I was walking door to door, the electricity goes out there all the time.
We know that.
Yeah. And then, so they can't get any radio, so they don't know why. So Mr. Kiabu, who I met, tells me, Tommy, can you get the Maui radio station, which is the only radio station Hawaiʻi gets to broadcast when the electricity is out? I want to find out why the electricity goes out so often, and then maybe we can get Maui to transmit.
Paula, and then Greg.
Oh, and by the way, you know that I agree with you. That tree is hideous. Where's Mr. Song? And by the way, if you're a golfer and you hit the tree, that's a man-made object. You get free relief. Sorry.
Tommy, I was taking this back to the feral cat program.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, I know we don't have time tonight, but maybe sometime, Stephanie, if you could tell us about if feeders are asking to get the certification or training, if they want to become approved.
Is it okay for her to answer the question? Yes, because thank you for coming out tonight, by the way.
Hi, Paula. It's really good to see you.
Me too, Stephanie.
We don't yet have a training program for folks who are engaged in TNRM. That is a goal for our organization. But right now we're focused all of our resources on doing as much spay neuter as possible so that we can keep the outdoor cat population from breeding. But Leilani of Aloha Kitty is actually the one who's acting as the representative of the caregivers out at Hawaii Kai, and she's the TNR expert. I'm not. So if you guys have questions about what sorts of skills the folks who are working out there have, Leilani would be a better person to answer.
Just wondering how receptive the current cat feeders are to getting this sort of restriction now, and if they're volunteering to get the training so they can continue with their work.
Right. So short stuff. Yes. So currently, the current feeders that are there now, what we're doing is we are getting everyone on the same page as far as the steps on what they need to do with caring for the animals there. So there are guidelines now in place and how to do it and how they can better observe all the animals that are coming in. Just some additional training on things to look for, conditions of the animals, things like that. And then to make sure that we count all of the animals that are there as we see them.
We're also going to be providing the caregivers who are authorized to be part of the agreement with identification so that law enforcement, HPD, if they're going out there to deal with rogue feeders who are just dumping food in the parking lot, they'll be able to distinguish between the folks who are involved with the program and the ones who are not, and hopefully can punish those litterers so that we can discourage that kind of bad behavior.
Thanks you. Thank you very much.
Any other questions for Stephanie and Leilani while they're up there?
I have a question, Chair.
Go ahead, Sam.
Aloha, Leilani and Stephanie, and Chair Waters as well. I'm curious how this new initiative relates to the feeders that are specifically on Hawaiʻi Street in front of the Mauna Loa, because we have one woman that feeds on one side of puts food underneath every single car. Every single morning there is paper plates that are left out and a lot of litter. And then there's another couple that walks down from another condo building to put wet cat food in front of the cars on the side of the road in front of the Mauna Loa. We've called the police. The police have said that they can put out as much cat food as they like. We've tried sweeping it up ourselves, and the police have also said that it's their personal property and we're not able to sweep it up. We have people that are stepping in cat food, trying to get into their cars. Our maintenance crews are picking it up every single morning because it's so excessive that even the cats that are in the area are not eating it. But we can't do anything about it, it seems like. And so what can we do with specifically these feeders to make this stop once and for all? And as well as the feeders that are at the Lanai Lookout and are compromising the colony of endangered seabirds. This is the only spot on Oahu that they nest. And so we need to be able to protect these birds.
I would just respond that this particular agreement pertains to the city property. That's the Kuleana Department of Transportation Services, so it wouldn't be related to either of those situations.
Okay, but it doesn't answer Sam's question about what can be done. So if anybody has an answer, I'm sure he would appreciate hearing that.
No, Sam, send me an email. We'll see if we can figure out a solution for you. But it's interesting, right? But maybe we can get a colony supervisor there too, or someone who's willing to supervise the feeding or non-feeding, if that is. But
yeah, I just think it's. Go ahead, Chair Waters.
Sorry, Sam, go ahead.
Well, I feel like it's unfortunate that the onus has to be put on somebody like Leilani, who's done such a great job trying to work with the other feeders. But these individuals, they are known in the cat feeding community. I'm not sure about the Lanai Lookout feeder, but specifically the ones in front of the Mauna Loa. And there's nothing that we can do, and it's such a nuisance to our building. Not to mention the cats, but specifically the food that's put out in excess, multiple nights a week. It's just it's gross, and we just need some help because HPD is not helping us, and there are laws on the books to be able to enforce this type of littering, which really is what it is.
Thank you. I'll see what I can do to help out, Sam.
Thank you. Appreciate that response. Greg had a question, and then I'll come back to Lisa and then Robbie. Page online.
Hi, Chair Waters. You did mention, you brought up the Cocoa Villas, and we'll discuss some of the details later in the agenda. But I did want to mention to you that you say you're willing to follow the interests of the community. And so I wanted to point out that we have been vehemently opposing this since 2004. So it does seem like there's plenty of evidence at this point that Hawaii Kai does not want to give up any of its preservation land to more development, especially the type of development that would be proposed here. The community there has, selling for $2.5 to $3.5 million. These are not, affordable homes for people to move into, to stay in the community. There is an affordable housing component on that, but it's likely to be off-site. They're saving it just for the developer to build more luxury homes. And the only person who benefits from that would be the developer, who knew when he bought the property that it was zone preservation. We did agree for the initial 70 homes that were built in an area that was zoned residential. But now to come back multiple times since 2004 and try to get, further approval to build housing on preservation land, particularly the land that abuts the entrance to Cocoa Crater and the Botanical Garden and the state, the horse area. It just seems like we've already decided this time and time again. So to drag this on, and you outlined a timeline that could take us into 2027, 28, this just seems like it's excessive, and that we should protect our preservation land in perpetuity. That's what it was intended. And I would argue that the more Hawaiʻi gets developed, the more valuable our remaining preservation land is. We need that outlet. We need a pressure valve, and it's ideal. I'm sure people would love to build on that, but it's valuable just for its aesthetics, its frontage to Cocoa Crater. That's, to me, it should already be decided and shouldn't even be entertained for another round. And I think they're just trying to wear us down.
No, I hear you, Greg, and thank you so much. I do really appreciate what you're saying. And those of you who know me, I'm a huge advocate for open space and spending the Clean Water and Natural Lands Fund to do exactly that. The problem with the current system is conservation land is supposed, in my mind, should be held in perpetuity. However, there is a process to change it. And that's what's happening right now. There is that process. What we've been doing at the city is when we purchased these, and what we did at Piko Ridge is a conservation easement, which protects it in perpetuity, right? Nobody can touch it after that. So that's also a possibility of the city purchasing this property to preserve it. So everything's on the table as far as how to protect this land. And it's definitely on my radar, but the soonest it's going to come to the city council will be in 2027. So I'm hoping I'm still on the job when that happens. But yeah, of course, I'm going to keep an eye on this. And I've asked them to come meet with you folks so that nothing's being hidden and everybody knows what's going on.
And if I can add one more thing, despite what they're saying, it is not consistent with the East Honolulu Sustainable Communities Plan, which specifically addresses that contradiction between the state and the city, so that it is saying that this state has maps that have an urban growth area, but those are basically just kind of illustrations, recommendations, or possibilities. But the city zoning, that's supposed to be legal.
You know, it's interesting when we were developing the East Honolulu Sustainable Communities Plan, and I did, you may recall, adopted all of the board's recommendations as well as a community group who came together and presented the recommendations to DPP. They did not adopt them, but when it came to the council, I made sure that we adopted it. So I tried at that point to make the Sustainable Communities Plan law, to say, okay, this is the law of the land. Unfortunately, it's not. It's just recommendation, right? But it amazes me when we're fighting for Piko Ridge, the Sustainable Communities Plan says you're not supposed to build on a ridge at a certain level, but yet it's zoned residential. And in my mind, that was ridiculous. But it just further illustrated that the Sustainable Communities Plan, the DPP, doesn't have the teeth that it really deserves. But again, I'm going to keep an eye on this, Greg. I know the opinion of this board. I did get your letter. It was very well written, and it outlined exactly the problems with that project.
Lisa?
Yes, thank you. I wanted to pivot back to offshore wind and follow up on Elizabeth's announcement. For the last year and a half or so, Elizabeth and I have been, and this Hawaiʻi Neighborhood Board have been following closely this offshore wind and the Kaiwi Channel issue. And we had been working closely with Representative Jean Ward on the issue in strong opposition. And this issue has reopened over the last couple of days, and I wanted to follow up with Elizabeth and update all of you that Representative Gideon has committed to pursuing Representative Ward's path of opposition in support of what the East Honolulu community has been saying for the last couple of years in opposition of building an industrial offshore wind complex in Kaiwi Channel. So we will continue to work with his staff and Councilmember Waters to ensure that this does not happen in Kaiwi. So I wanted to thank the council member and Representative Gideon for taking up that mantle and continuing to support what the East Honolulu community and most of Hawaii has said that they do not want that our ocean wilderness to be commercialized for offshore wind. So thank you very much. And you have a community here that will help you represent our wishes, not only locally, but in the federal level. So thank you.
All right, Robbie, do you have a question? Okay. Paige, are you still online?
I am. Thank you. Hi, Chair.
Okay.
Thank you for your report tonight. I have two questions, really. The first one's regarding the parking lot at Job Corps. So how many parking spaces is the proposed new lot going to have?
I can't tell you that, but if you look at the picture, you can kind of see, we'll try to see if we can get it on camera so you could see it. It basically is between the two existing parking lots.
Yeah, I saw that. I just can't, it's hard to see if that's 100 spaces or 1,000 spaces. I don't know. But I guess my question is that when that fills up, and it's going to, what is the next plan for parking? You don't have the answer. It's rhetorical, but I mean, it's just something I'm throwing out there because it's going to happen. And I want to know what the bridges we're going to have to jump off of it at that point in time. And then the other question that I had was, what is the point of preservation land? Because it seems to me that every single time we're talking about somebody coming to the neighborhood board, whether it's KSBE or Group 70 or somebody wanting to build an assisted living home or somebody wanting to build on the Great Lawn, it seems to me that their impression of preservation land is that it doesn't mean anything. It's preservation, but they're like, so what? We're just going to get it rezoned. So what is the point of having any preservation land in Hawaii? Because if the DPP and if our elected officials and if the developers and the people who buy preservation land and this guy who bought this property that he wants to develop at Kokokai, he bought it preservation. It's not like the state changed it on him. So my question is if it can all just be changed at the drop of a hat when you pay somebody off or when somebody's turned their back, like I think this guy is hoping the Hawaii Kai is doing is actually that I think he's hoping our board is just turning our back and we're not really paying too much attention to the last 14 years or 15 years or whatever it is. Then what's the point of it? Preservation land has to mean something, and it should mean more in Hawaii and in this community than anywhere else on the planet. And if Hawaii can't, that's like saying, well, Mauna Kea is preservation land, but I don't care. I'm going to go build a hotel up there. But you can't do that. I mean,
or a telescope.
Yeah, but I mean, the whole point is that it has to mean something. And when somebody buys preservation land and it's zone preservation, then they need to be told, dude, you bought this preservation. It's preservation land.
Okay. All right, Paige, we got it.
Roberta, I'm not quite done yet, but thank you.
No, but you've made your point.
No, I haven't made my point. I have another question.
Respond.
No, I agree with her 100%. There's a process though. that is still there where you could rezone. So I'm very well aware of the process and I'm keeping an eye on it. And hopefully it doesn't happen.
Yeah, but I guess my question is why is there a process? If it is zone preservation, why are we telling people here's your get out of jail free card? It shouldn't be any change. You should not be able to change it. I understand you're saying there's a process. We all know that because it's happened many times. But when something's zone preservation, why is there an outlet for them? Why are they told, well, you bought it preservation, no big deal. You can get it changed later to residential and just build on it.
I have to say it's very, very rare that it happens. Apparently, right, it happened in the neighboring community. But as long as I've been on the council, I think we've had it from preservation to residential. I'm not sure it's ever happened. We have one on the North Shore right now through agriculture to residential, and it's been really contentious. But you may or may not know, when the whole land use ordinance and the zoning was originally made, you look at how much residential you got on this island versus there's a rural category and there is a agriculture category. A lot of it's agricultural, a lot of it. And this parcel of land on the North Shore is a very small parcel, like 7 acres. We're right across the street. It's huge. So it's been pretty contentious, but we do need housing, right? We got to start thinking about where we're going to build housing and be really thoughtful about it. And to your point, Bill Page, we shouldn't be doing it on preservation land, like you said. But in their wisdom, whoever was the founders who created this system, I wouldn't call it a loophole, because at some point, what if there's an emergency and you have to rezone land to
You have to build
something
a high
save it?
rise because it's an
Okay,
emergency?
hold up.
No, that's not what I'm talking about, Paige. You know that. But you never know. You just never know.
Okay, we're going to,
I got one quick one.
it'll have to be a very quick question because.
The land across from post office was sold by Camp School to the state, and then the governor can change the zoning and did. So that's going to be Hawaiian Homelands. The last thing is, if you could at least be a part of the Camp School presentation. They came a while ago and they found out that this place was packed on what they want to do with all their property in Hawaiʻi. That's all.
No, thank you, Herb. And I've been encouraging them, and they don't tell me either, by the way. I've been bothering them. They have a lot of land in District 4. I'm curious what's going to happen with the Kahala Hotel and the neighboring property. They just sold, was it the land under the Royal Hawaiian? Yeah. Wow. And then on the Big Island. So, but they don't tell me either. So I've been bugging them. Like I said, I've met with Jack Wong myself to say, hey, I'm sorry, Chair, I'll stop talking.
Okay.
I know we have a lot of other elected officials who want
Yes,
time.
yes. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to close your portion of the meeting because there are others, but Elizabeth wants to make one point of clarification to a point that Herb raised.
So the land across from the post office doesn't go through a zone change. It's just through the governor's executive order that allows it to become what it's going to become, which at the state level, I think that's quite frightening, but just so that you do know.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to take off, board members. I got a long hearing tomorrow, so please excuse me, but please pick up one of these green leaflets. It's super helpful and look forward to hearing from you folks.
Thank you for coming tonight. Next on our agenda is Governor Josh Green's representative, Cameron Black. Welcome, Cameron.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, board members, members of the community. Cameron Black representing Governor Green's office tonight. I have 4 items to touch on tonight that are outstanding from previous meetings. In order are the status of the Cocoa Head slash Portlock emergency siren. Second is the Mauna Lua Bay dredging project down by the boat ramp. And the third is the DHHL housing project on the corner across from the post office. And then the fourth might be offshore wind. Okay, so starting with the siren, during the January 2nd monthly testing, Hawaiʻi deployed noise meters and readings in 4 locations in the Cocoa Head area, and they all came back registering appropriate readings. I was out there personally, and Paige, as the area representative, I look forward to getting your input and other board members and members of the community as well on what you've been hearing and what your reaction was. But according to Hawaiʻi, the testing all show that the readings were appropriate for that siren. And then I will stop there and pause for questions or comments.
No questions or comments on that issue. Paige is not online. She had to leave early.
Okay. We did notify you all after the testing, so hopefully we didn't hear anything. So hopefully in this case, no news is good news. I plan to actually go out on the next monthly testing closer to Cocoa Head, maybe a little bit further from the mountain. I was on Lumahai before, just to see how far you can hear it in different areas. But it is something that is very important that I'll continue to follow through with. And thanks to Hawaiʻi and Rep Gideon too for supporting efforts on bird dogging that thing. Okay, the second one is the Mauna Lua Bay dredging and facility improvements. Update from DOBAR earlier this month. Currently, the project is scheduled to be completed by the end of next month, next February. DOBAR provided a project website for members of the community to look up more details on the project, and hopefully you were provided that. If not, I will resend that to you. It's pretty informative, but if it doesn't answer all of your questions, please let me know. There's also a contact on the website for the DOBAR engineer in charge. I actually went down there today before the meeting to take a look at it myself, and you can walk around and do that. The heavy equipment is offshore at this time, kind of by the boat ramp, so you can almost walk the whole way and check it out. So I'll pause there.
Greg and then Paula.
Well, I just wanted to say it looks great. I do wonder where there's beach quality sand. Is that intended to be recreational? People going down sunbathing and using the bay in that way, not just a boat launch? And might there be some landscaping coming on that? A couple of coconut trees along the beach quality sand.
So I'll have to get back to you. There was seemed to be almost a new beach area almost across from the traffic light. Oh, hey, we got the rep here to answer.
I'll jump in to help in. Yes, so what they did was they dredged the channel and they took that sand. The sand was originally all from that area. So they took the sand and they replenished the beach. So originally the project was $6.5 million. We got that allocated in about 3 years ago, I believe now. And they've expanded the project beyond that. Here, I'm going to dig at the media right now. So the media, there was an article that came out and said the project is over budget. But what the article did not state was, yes, it is over budget because they expanded the scope drastically from what it originally was. So first, what we were going to do is just dredge the harbor. And so there's so much film material that comes out, right? And so we decided to put not we, DLNR was the guys that really did the heavy lifting, so thank you. They used that material to replenish the beach, and it was really fine quality sand. So if you go there, you can see that. Yeah. And then they added a bulkhead, and they used that sand to fill into the bulkhead.
Well, I would say that some of the regular dredge sand is not the finest quality. And where I saw on the diagram that there were a couple of stretches over by the canoe house and more closer to the traffic light, it says beach quality sand. So I thought you can pull in some from Waimanalo area? Or
No, it's all from that area.
Okay, so that kind of
Yeah, it's
answers my
beautiful
question.
sand.
That
Go-
doesn't seem,
Go to the canoe launch and it's beautiful sand.
and it does seem to be quite an expansion, but possibly primarily for the benefit of Hui Nalu.
Well, it's the benefit for everybody that uses the beach. So what they did was they made the bulkhead come around, so that way it'll retain the sand instead of just stopping. Yeah.
Paula, your question?
I was wondering when I saw all of that sand myself, I was thinking, oh, is this going to become a beach? Because, I used to go to Alamoana Beach Park all the time years and years ago because it's just not hospitable anymore. But one of the things that I'm concerned about is if it is going to be a beach draw, is it just very rocky and reefy there?
So prior to the replenishment of the sand, that beach area was really rocky because all the sand got washed away. And so that's why the DLNR decided to put the sand back there to basically replenish the beach like what it used to be when we were all small. That bay hasn't been dredged since the 60s, I believe. I think this is the first time. And so there was a lot of material that was dug out, a lot more. They had to expand the project beyond what we originally intended to.
Okay. Cameron, you want to finish your report and then we'll go directly to you, Mark, since you.
Thank you. Also emailed these questions and answers to you in advance, so maybe you got them, maybe you didn't, but for everybody's sake and for you folks again who didn't get a chance or who read it a while ago, 3 specific questions regarding the development of that DHHL parcel for about 80 low-income kapuna housing units over there. And then, I apologize, I'm going to have to read from DHHL directly if that's okay. I know this is important. What will be the parking for the new development? DHHL is planning to provide ample on-site parking to adequately support residents and visitors. DHHL recognizes that street parking in the surrounding area is limited, so their preliminary studies are focused on ensuring the project includes sufficient parking capacity to minimize impacts on the neighborhood and meet anticipated demand. So that's the first question. And interrupt me as you please. Second question, what are the benefits of the project to the surrounding community? The residential housing project will provide meaningful benefits to the Hawaiʻi community by providing a place for residential housing, support multi-generational families, and easing pressure on the neighborhood's existing housing stock. The possibility of developing kapuna housing would generate minimal traffic and noise, and an 80-unit design would be scaled to fit the surrounding residential character. The project also brings improvements to the vacant parcel and addresses the state's housing crisis. The project delivers on DHHL's and the state's commitment to uphold the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act of 1920 by protecting and supporting Hawaiian homelands for the benefit of Native Hawaiians. In addition, it will support local businesses and reflect the department's commitment to responsible land stewardship and community-oriented design.
Okay, we're going to have to move quickly. So
I had raised that question about benefit, not so much in terms of just civic responsibility and all that, but in terms of, okay, if Hawaii Kai is giving up some of its preservation land, what do we get in return? And not your kind of answer that you got there, but can we ensure that other preservation land is protected? Can we ensure that the Kamilo Nui Valley is protected and that some of the farmland is kind of, some kind of trade-off, something in return? Because actually a lot of us think that the Department of Hawaiian Homelands project is a good thing. I mean, we see the benefit of it, but if we're willing to give up preservation land in the heart of Hawaii Kai, what can we get as a trade-off?
I mean, I can take it back. The most pointed answer to that question did seem to be a place for residential housing, support for multi-generational families, and easing the pressure on the neighborhood's existing stock. So that seemed to be I guess, the most community-specific localized
There are
benefit.
10 acres of residential land in Kalama Valley, for instance. There are other sites could have been used, but anyway.
Herb?
The parking's going to be ridiculous. You have the townhouses across, they're already parking in that area. You got the other townhouses down the road and there's cars lined up and down. I don't think you're going to be able to get any of the excess parking on the streets. And yeah, I just, I'm all for it, but I don't see how it's going to work there. And also you said that they're going to go with the design of what's nearby. Well, the only one is that 3-story townhouses across the street because they're not going to do the Anchorage or those others. So I disagree with it. The parking is going to be horrendous, especially for all those that are already using it. Thank you.
Cameron, you need to go back and let them know that street parking really needs to be off the planning table. It's not going to be possible. Okay, any other questions for the governor's rep? And you have one other piece, did you say? Okay,
I'm not laughing at that. The last question of this third one, and I know we're running out of time here, but I can jump straight to the questions and answers, was regarding the rezoning of the property from preservation to housing, which has come up already in tonight's meeting a few times. The HHL is exempt from the standard rezoning process that private landowners are required to follow. The parcel is classified by the state as urban. The county zoning is currently P2, which is a preservation class. The HHL will inform county of its decision to develop the parcel based on A2 zoning and abide by that zoning category's requirements. The HHL's intent is to add much needed kupuna housing in a complementary way that fits in with the existing neighborhood of multifamily homes.
are you able to share DHHL's response with us, your notes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did, and I will re-forward. Yes,
Thank you
yeah,
very much.
but it was right after the last meeting, so it was 2 months ago.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
I'd
I will
appreciate
re-share.
that, yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
happy to do that.
all right.
And I will emphasize the parking concerns and what you said about no
Okay,
parking.
yeah. All right, thank you. Oh, last question, Johanna.
I remember when Chair Mayor forwarded us your answers that you conveyed to us, forwarded to us from DHHL. Can you continue to ask them to come to our meeting? I think the last time you may have corresponded with them was before the holiday season, so I understand that there might be a little bit of a lag.
I will do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you very much, Cameron. All right, Representative Hashem. Oh, I'm sorry, did I miss something?
What you're referring to with the offshore wind Kaiwi channel.
Are you or your office or Mark involved in this in any way? Not Mark.
Mark Lick, the
Mark
Chief
Lick.
Energy Officer of the state of Hawaii. We are involved in the grid planning process, which is what was referred to in Henry's blog, Ililani Media blog story, which I believe you're referring to. All indications from Hawaiian Electric beforehand were that offshore wind would not be included in this particular second cycle of the integrated grid plan. And I did see there was a filing to intervene. I haven't read that. I'd like to do a little bit more homework to understand what the filing was, but yes, and I apologize, there was a deadline to intervene in that grid year planning process. There are and Hawaiian Electric actually cited the federal executive order on a reason why they were removing offshore wind for this planning cycle. But I'd like to do more digging. Again, I haven't read the filings myself. I wasn't even aware of this deadline personally, and I apologize for that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Representative Hashem, unfortunately, I have just a very few minutes to give you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm gonna continue on with the dredging, but before I start, I'm here talking about the dredging, but please don't think it's all me, because actually Gene Ward started this whole process. He not direct me. He pulled me into it and I got involved and I started to work. We worked on it together. And also Joe and Senator Lee is involved, also Stanley Chang. So they help get the funding too. But I'm going to speak about it, but I want to acknowledge that they're all in the process together. So going to the dredging, we're going to push for a phase 2 of the dredging. So what we're going to do is by the canoe side there, that area is really low and it ponds really bad when it rains. So we're going to try to do a runoff plan, raise that area and repave the whole parking lot because it hasn't been paved. They're going to continue to dredge along the front of the bulkhead because that's very shallow and add additional docking areas so where the boats can come in because there's only 2 launches. So if a boat comes in, it's a commercial launch too, right? So if a boat comes in to reloads or refuel, they block off one launch and then you only can use another one. So what DLNR wants to do is create another area so the boats can tie up on the side, load the boats on the side while the other boats go in and out. And it doesn't block the launchway. So that's the process. That's what they're planning. It's probably be another 3+ years for that to go through that whole process. And if you have any questions, I'm here. Oh, a big thing, please look on page 2. I'll let Elizabeth Riley explain about page 2 of that. Yeah, you're welcome. So.
All right, are there any questions for Representative Hashem?
Okay, thank you.
We're very happy to see you tonight. I hope that you come and join us again.
Yes, I will.
All right. Senator Chris Lee. Oh, I'm sorry. Senator Stanley Chang's office is online. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Happy New Year to everyone. My name is Zephanie, and I'm pleased to be returning to serve in Senator Chang's office for the legislative session. I just want to say special thanks to Rev. Hashem for the acknowledgement and also to Tom with Hard earlier. Those of you who had a chance to review our January newsletter saw a wonderful spread about their petition and the work that they're doing. So thank you for your work and thank you for that acknowledgement. We have kicked off the legislative session, as you know, this week. Last week, however, Senator Chang, who has the pleasure of chairing the Housing Committee again this session, hosted a discussion that you can view on his YouTube station to learn more about what to expect in the Housing Committee this year. This was a discussion with the Housing Chairperson in the House, Representative Luke Evslin. We also, as I mentioned, highlighted that petition in that January newsletter and some other interesting topics for you to check out. The February newsletter is forthcoming, so you'll have an opportunity to learn more not only about the priorities for the legislative session in the Housing Committee, but overall the Senate Majority priorities, ranging from, of course, at the top of the list, housing and affordability, to a number of topics that you all have discussed this evening as well, pertaining to education, food security, agriculture, the environment, workforce development, economic diversification, healthcare and public safety, and of course, government reform and operations. It's almost time for the Lunar New Year. I think I'll see you after the Lunar New Year, but Senator has also introduced a bill again this year to try to make it a state holiday for those who celebrate. Another shout out to Hawaiʻi as well in our newsletter. So thank you all. That one's pertaining to Hawaiian Electrics and the critical safety projects that they're completing. So the newsletters are filled with all sorts of information, opportunities, events, resources for preparing to file taxes, and if you need support there. And so I've included a link in the chat. If you'd like to subscribe to either of our newsletters, every week we send out updates about housing and the public discourse around housing. And then once a month, we send out that constituent newsletter where you'll find some of the issues that you've highlighted for us. So please let me know what questions I can take back to the office, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the Senator's office? All right. Thank you very much. We're going to move on to Senator Chris Lee. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, aloha, everyone. I apologize. I've missed the last few meetings because this evening directly conflicts with a whole other set of meetings that are going on simultaneously. But I was really excited to come in December because I had some news to share, and then I realized, oh, there's actually no meeting in December. So it's good to be here today. I'll be skipping most of what I was going to talk about just to respect everyone's time. But obviously, we're going into our legislative session. It's January. With all our colleagues working on a bunch of these issues. I want to highlight just a couple of things and then return to some of the stuff that was brought up earlier that's relevant. Last year, I talked about reducing costs and been working with a colleague of mine, of ours, who's in the state legislature in Utah. Ray Ward is a Republican there. He authored a bill that was the first of its kind legislation that would allow people to basically go to Costco, buy a solar array, bring it home, plug it in to like your normal outlet, and not have to have city permits, not have to have interconnection from HECO, not have to have any number of other things. It's treated as an appliance. Certainly not as big as your typical rooftop system, but on the whole, can save a ton of money really, really easily. That makes it accessible to everyone. And if everyone does that, then I think to the point Elizabeth was raising, you don't need quite as much capacity on the grid overall. So obviously it can affect a lot of the discussion that we're having here. The other thing that I had mentioned last year that we were starting a project on was dealing with a lot of our neighbors and residents who have, through no fault of their own, medical debt they just can't pay because they tend to be retired on fixed incomes, or you have any number of situations here in Hawaii where one incident and all of a sudden you're in debt hundreds of thousands of dollars that you'll just never be able to pay, which means your credit is shot. You're not going to be able to get housing, loans for car. I mean, all the other stuff that comes with that for the rest of your life. And so not only does that family lose out, but the healthcare system itself, which while broken in many ways, doesn't get the money either. And so we worked with a nonprofit at the time to start a process to acquire, to identify and acquire all the medical debt for those families like that in Hawaii. Not folks who are, fresh out of the hospital who don't want to pay their bill, but folks who truly are in that situation that is basically impacting their lives. And so happy to announce we have a bill moving now, but we've been working with that nonprofit already. As of today, they've already acquired the unpaid and unpayable debt of 50,016 Hawaii individuals, mostly on this island. And it totals about $91 million in debt that otherwise people would be saddled with forever. Plan is what we can actually do with that is take that $91 million and just wipe it out overnight, cancel it all, return people to a place where they're economically on a clean slate so they can continue their lives for less than $500,000. It is probably the best ROI on any dollar spent that I've ever seen, in the way that it both has an impact and reach and tangibly changes people's lives directly. So really excited about that opportunity. There's a bunch of other stuff, but suffice it to say, there are a few bills that touch on some of the things we're talking about, which include on the state side, securing additional funding for land acquisition for key spaces. Not getting into the weeds, we've already had this conversation for some time, but which could apply to situations like some of the incidents and particular opportunities that come up that are being talked about here. Just in the last couple of years, I'll give you as an example. On the windward side, I put, along with our windward colleagues, funding into the budget. We just acquired last year the HPU campus on the windward side, which is about 140 acres. Most of that is conservation. The vast majority of that is conservation land. So that's going to be preserved in perpetuity, and the facility itself will become a new home for, it looks like at the moment, DLNR and their operations, so they consolidate things and ultimately save even more money because they don't have to lease all this separate office space. The other one was $7 million that went into acquiring Manuilu Valley, which is about 1,000 acres, which has a whole bunch of historic and cultural stuff in it, which will be both preserved in perpetuity as well as certain sections restored into the lo'i and terraced agriculture that it once was, 500 years ago. Here, part of the law that we talked about with Hawaiʻi the last few years took 5 years to pass with all of your Help and Elizabeth and a number of the folks, there's a legal provision we put in there that contemplated this exact scenario that we're talking about today, where you have other adjacent or nearby parcels that could be put into preservation. And the way that works is you don't have to go through the same process Tommy was talking about, which is quite rigorous, both in the state and county and sometimes federal side, but rather the minute that you add a parcel to that designated park, it automatically gets converted into preservation in perpetuity. And that is something that means for our purposes, for when we're trying to line up budgets and funding and these, complicated deals for some of this stuff, if we're exchanging parcels of land and things like that, it means we can do those deals way easier. So there's opportunity to leverage, I think, all these different tools in the toolbox going forward. And there's bills to really help, I think, give the resources, not just today for one project, but further on out for whatever might come next, so that we can take advantage of those opportunities when they come up. Because once you miss them, as we all well know, you'll never get them back. So let me stop there for a minute. There's so much more I wanted to cover, but I'll just save it for the next time, I guess, and be happy to answer questions.
Any questions for Senator Lee?
Okay. So if things come across your desk that you think is relevant for this district, could your office contact us? We never really get to weigh in on stuff at the state level because we always hear about it late. So since we're early, let us know. Let your mayor know.
Absolutely. I
Thank
think
you.
most years I've given, at least for the stuff that I'm aware of, and that's, a small fraction of everything that's moving. We're early yet. Bills are still being introduced, but by the next, I'd say 3 or 4 days, we'll have a good kind of list of what the bills are, where they're at. And if there's something that raises a flag for me, I'm happy to communicate it.
Thank you. And I appreciate your rushing through your report because of the time. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
I'd like to ask Representative Joe Gideon. And unfortunately, I'll have to keep you on a tight time schedule as well.
Not a problem. We will make it quick. I have a copy of the newsletter along with the mail piece that's going to be going out shortly. Maybe you can just pass it back. Hello, everybody. Representative Joe Gideon, District 18, Hawaiʻi, Kalama Valley, and Portlock. Happy New Year. And oops. There we go. Just got to say, it is an honor to be here with you tonight and each and every month. Since I've come into office, I learned so much at these board meetings. First off, I want to give hats off to Chair Waters, Senator Lee, Senator Chang, and Representative Hashem for all the work that they've been doing. Cameron Black and Rep. Hashem gave an update on the Bay. I've been making a point to go down there at least once a week, and I try and take some video and post it on my social media to keep everybody up to date. I do have a link to the website for the Bay on my site at repgideon.com. I'm going to breeze through a lot of this because I know we're running short on time. Had the opportunity this past weekend to accompany Principal Gu to the memorial for Mr. Sean Horiuchi. He was an educator here at Hawaiʻi for 25 years and had the opportunity to present a certificate from the legislature thanking him for his service to his family. They were very appreciative of that. Next to Lisa Bishop, thank you to you and Elizabeth Riley and the board for the work you've been doing on the Kaiwi Coast issue. Actually had a chance to a very brief meeting with Congressman Ed Case today, and I did ask him about the issue, asking, we were under the impression it was dead in the water after the executive order, and he did tell me it is not dead in the water and on the shelf waiting for maybe a better political climate. So like I mentioned, I'm committed to working with both of you and the board to represent the wishes of our community. Next up, quick report. Last month, we had our Let's Talk Story session We invited members from the Department of Ag, we had the Ag Foundation, Able Collective, and Kanekoa Farms is Devin Murphy from Camilla Nui Valley. I was blown away by the turnout. Normally we have about 20 to 30 people show up. We had almost 70 people show up. It was great. And along those lines, we had an idea for another great Let's Talk Story session for next month, February. It's the month of heart, month of love. The title of our story is going to be The Heart of Hawaiʻi Kai. And I'm still working on nailing everybody down, but can I say that you guys are in? There are a couple of people that we're going to be having on our panel that we will be confirming and sharing once everybody's confirmed. But it's really to help preserve the heart of what makes Hawaiʻi Kai Hawaiʻi Kai. So we'll be bringing members in to talk about how we can keep things that way. Cocoa Villa Phase 2. Chair Mayor, you and I have had a conversation on that. And my office, we've drafted a survey that we will be circulating throughout our constituents. We've got about 10,000 email addresses. We will be doing a mail out in the immediate area of Cocoa Villa to get community input, community sentiment on the issue. That feedback will be shared with the board. It will be shared with the developer along with other stakeholders, Tommy Waters' office and Senator Stanley Chang. Thank you. Wine Homelands, 80 units is what they're proposing. Herb, thank you for bringing up the comment about the parking. I live in Lalea. I park on that street every night. I give my wife the driveway and I hoof it out to the road. I did have an opportunity to speak with Kali Watson last week, and I brought the issue up to him. I let him know. I don't know how he's going to fit 80 units in there, but the majority of the people that live in Lalea, which is what they're saying they're going to structure it after, they use their garage for storage because the units are small. You got a car in the driveway, you got a vehicle on the street, and sometimes I got to walk 5 minutes home, which I probably need the steps, but.
Representative, I'm going to have to ask you to wrap it up.
Okay, and last but not least, I encourage everybody to go to my website, repgideon.com. I wanted to make it a hub of information for our community. We have a petition for HARD. We've got other information regarding our newsletter, which is going to be posted on there by the end of the week. And keep an eye out for the mailer that we've got going out. It's the top 10 new laws that went into effect starting 2026. You've got a copy of it there. Thank you so much for your time. Are there any questions?
I don't see any questions. Thank you so
Okay,
very much.
Thanks everybody for your patience.
All right. And thank you to all of our elected officials. Sorry we had to rush through your presentation, but I'm so happy to see all of you tonight. We're going to be moving on to board business. First item was update on Kaiwi Coast Scenic Byway. We did get the report on the 5-year boulder boundary at Vavamalu Beach. So I think that pretty much covers that. The second thing is the update on Camila Nui Valley agriculture, and I have no updates unless someone else has an update. Okay, quickly.
There's a couple of new folks in the valley. That's really exciting, like an orchid grower. And I understand everyone will be licensed to stay till 2027, which is good. It's a start.
Okay, stay till 2027. Very good. And then update on Cocoa Crater Stables. Chair Waters did mention that he is planning on placing $350,000 in the city budget for the Cocoa Crater Stables. So we'll follow up on that and hope that projects get completed at the stables. The last item under board business was the correspondence concerning the G70 proposal for the expansion of Cocoa Villas. And I just wanted to let the community know that the board did send a letter to G70 indicating our current position, which is in opposition to changing preservation land in Hawaiʻi Kai to residential land. They did respond back, and they have since asked to meet with our committee on planning, zoning, and environment. And Elizabeth, who is the chair of that committee, I think Johanna Ward is going to co-chair that committee with her. And they have a meeting scheduled for March the 3rd. And so we'll announce it again at our February meeting, but we hope to have participation of the community at that meeting. There are no other committee reports. Next item up is the approval of the regular meeting minutes. They were distributed to the board members. Are there any revisions to be made to the minutes for November 25? Seeing no revisions, the minutes are accepted as distributed. There are no other board announcements, and so I'm going into the closing announcements. The next regular meeting of the Hawaiʻi Neighborhood Board is on Tuesday, February 24 at 7 p.m. at Hawaiʻi Elementary School and on WebEx. Our board meetings are cablecast on Olelo Channel 49 on the second Monday of the following month at 9:00 p.m. and repeating on that month's third Friday at 7 a.m. Our meetings are also available online at OleloNet or the Honolulu Neighborhood Commission office. I want to thank everybody for staying with us. I'm sorry the last half hour has been rushed, but we got everything done. So thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned.